Those were the sultry tones of one Todd Ellis and Tommy Suggs reliving what I assume was the highlight from last week against Kentucky. We have put it behind us. We've put that game to bed, and we have successfully moved on to LSU. And now, just about 30 hours away, Preston Thorne, 12 o'clock. I think it's technically 12:22 tomorrow is what I see. Maybe 12:22, something in that ballpark. The official kickoff will take place for South Carolina and LSU over at Williams-Brice Stadium. The festivities really get going today with game day. We've made it. We're here in one piece. And I've seen us talk about it, or I've heard us talk about it. I've seen some message board fodder about it. Biggest game at Williams-Brice Stadium since? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point, is that the program was left in the wilderness for a little while during the Muschamp era, so there weren't actually many big games. We talked through some of these things, but it's a big game because the team went out and won against Kentucky and won in the fashion that they did. And then you have the name brand, as I say, the name brand of LSU, but we don't know actually who LSU is. So this is a huge game. We stated it here. I don't know if people have been listening to the show. We stated here, this is the biggest game of the Shane Beamer era for a lot of different reasons, but it's the biggest game of the Shane Beamer era.
It's going to be fun. And if South Carolina can go out and win tomorrow, and I think they've got a chance. We'll break down kind of what we see with this game and what we kind of expect. But if they go out and win tomorrow, who knows what exactly the sky is? I know they always say the sky is the limit, but who knows? With you'd be a quarter of the way. Imagine, just by the way, think about that. Had this conversation last night. We wait and we wait and we wait. 9 months, 10 months, whatever it may be. South Carolina hadn't played a football game in 10 months, 11 months, really, going back to November last year. And you blink, and a quarter of the football season will be done.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It goes by very quickly. I love this time of the year because it's such a routine. You get into, this is what we do on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, whatever. But literally every week is like a season because things change so much from week to week. If you would have told us 2 weeks ago, if you remember the vibe check from last week, it was not great, right? It was, let's go to the store for some liquor. Let's go hunting.
Deer stand,
Let's go to the deer stand. Now the vibe has changed, and that's how things can change very quickly. Now the vibe can go to the sky, or the vibe can go a different way, and that's the cool part about having a big game. There are stakes here. This is important. A lot of things on the line.
It is one of those things where I can foresee a future, a Monday morning, where Georgia has romped over Kentucky, something vicious. I think they're now up to a 24-point favorite. And LSU comes in here and just physically dominates. The South Carolina offensive line can't block anybody and things of that nature. And then people go back the other way. And basically at that point are like, well, we saw this. This is, no, we knew it. 4 wins, max. Or I can see a scenario where South Carolina going on a South Carolina wins. You look at what's on tap with Akron, and everybody here, you know what they do, Preston? They do what I did, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. 10-2 in playoffs? So you're right. Enjoy this afternoon. Enjoy at least leading up to the game tomorrow. And we'll get into a vibe check and see what Preston wants to put out there and see what it's going. We'll also get into a little bit of an LSU scouting report. Rumors coming out yesterday that Harold Perkins, the very talented defender, who some would say has been playing out of position, he's going to be moved around to a different position to maybe harass the quarterback a little bit more. We'll talk a little bit about that. And Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator there for LSU, coming over from Missouri. We gave the stats yesterday from his triumphal shutdown of South Carolina last year.
Now, August, you need to take this personal. This is personal for you. He owned you last year, Dow. You better take this personal.
If you don't remember, it was 34-12 last year. Really wasn't even that close. It was 24-3 at halftime. South Carolina kicked a couple field goals there in the second half to get to 12. But the Gamecocks were 3 of 14 on third downs. They were 23 of 40 passing for 217 yards, and that was considerably with one of the best quarterbacks, most talented quarterbacks to ever play at South Carolina. I know Xavier Legette was out in that game, but South Carolina struggling in the passing game and then ran it 29 times for 69 yards last year. Blake Baker is going to get in your face. He's going to come after Lenora Sellers tomorrow. There's going to be lots of blitzes. I don't think that's any kind of secret. Dow Loggins, you said, all right, you've seen him once. Now you got to be ready for him a second time.
Yeah, you got to tie it up. He beat you down one time. You're 0 for 1 against Blake Baker. That doesn't have any bearing on this game this weekend, but you should be taking this one a little bit personally because he rubbed your nose in the dirt last year.
Yeah.
And so we can't have that. And that leads us to this, Bill. It's Friday. We have some bulletin board material. We have some bulletin board material. This is some LSU guy. LSU guy. Matt Moscoma from Locked On LSU. He shares his thoughts on the game of LSU versus South Carolina. And I want everybody to hear this, and we're going to play this throughout the show. This is the old school bulletin board material. This, even though you can't post the podcast on the bulletin board, I don't know if you have to print it out or
these I hate to tell you, 20 years
do with this.
20 years later, they don't have bulletin board. They have screens, television screens.
This is flat screen material. This is listening material. This is when you go. This is what they need to do. They need to have every player walk into the practice facility, walk into that recording booth that I don't know gets used anymore.
There you go.
Put those headphones on and listen to this. Jen, can we get clip number 19, please? This is what you're up against.
I'll tell you straight up. I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenora Sellers is not a good football player. Look, On3 had him as a top 10 quarterback in the country last year. I think he has the potential to be really good. He's 240 pounds and he can throw the ball a ton. He's just not a very good quarterback right now. He's a great athlete, just not a good quarterback, and he could become one.
You hear that?
Rocket Sanders was a really good running back at Arkansas, had some injury issues, and I think he's proven he can be a good back at times. I don't think South Carolina's offensive line is very good. I don't think their defense in total is very good. Their pass rush is very good. And that's strength on strength because LSU's pass defense is, or pass rush defense, their ability to pass block, I should say, is fantastic. So it's good on good. Do you trust Will Campbell, Emory Jones to hold up against South Carolina's pass rush? I do. And if LSU's offensive line can keep Garrett Nussmeier upright, LSU is going to sling the ball all over the yard. And on the flip side, you better believe Blake Baker is going to dial up some creative pressures to force that South Carolina offense into negative plays, a South Carolina offense that isn't very good to begin with, and a young quarterback. This is a matchup that heavily favors LSU. You go out there, you protect Garrett Nussmeier, and you protect the football, you're going to win this football game. I think Shane Beamer knows it as well.
Let me put the pads on, man. I'm ready to go.
Can you feel it?
Oh, my gosh.
Can you feel it?
Am I the only one that kind of agrees with him?
Yeah, get out of here. This is Friday.
Okay, take your crutches and go.
Can you play clip?
In fact, I'm going to take them away.
Just from the beginning, I just want to hear the first part of that clip. And this don't get you fired up. I don't know what does.
I'll tell you straight up. I don't think much of South Carolina.
Stop it.
I think Lenora.
Play that on repeat.
By the way, let me just point this out to be factual. He
what are we doing?
good friends. He's good friends with Jay Phillips. Do you think Jay said that on Matt's? I've met Matt through Jay Phillips at SEC Media Days. They're buddy. Real buddy. Jay went on his show, I think yesterday or on Wednesday.
Okay.
Maybe we should have pulled that out. You think Jay Phillips said that about?
Listen, Jay is not our best ambassador when it comes to talking trash.
No, he's not.
That's not who we want to send to the front line. If we're doing a hospitality contest, we can send Jay. But for the trash talking contest, we can't. That's not our best.
No.
It's not our best representative.
Hey, listen. Number one. And that's what I just said a few minutes ago. It's showtime for South Carolina.
Thank you.
It is showtime for South Carolina. But what Matt said is very legitimate points and is the concern of this game. Everything he just said. I don't know how good Lenora Sellers is. I don't know how good that secondary is for South Carolina. I really don't know how good that pass rush is for South Carolina. Tomorrow at noon, South Carolina can prove, and again, it is why we say this is the biggest game of the Shane Beamer era, because you can change a narrative. I didn't know we were going to be this intense at 6:10.
Let's do it. It's Friday, dog.
You can change
game day.
You can change a narrative entirely about not just this team, but this program tomorrow with a victory. You can. That doesn't mean that people are going to, if South Carolina wins, it doesn't necessarily mean anybody's going to take my path and go, ooh, playoffs, 10-2. But you can change that because LSU comes in here looking at you more like you're South Alabama, who, by the way, won last night 81 or 87-10.
Mm-hmm.
But they look at you more like you're South Alabama than any kind of SEC opponent. And they've won 7 straight. And most of them, few here, few there, most of them haven't really been close. LSU comes in here with total disdain, total disrespect. They're just here to play a football game, get out, get back to Baton Rouge, and make sure everything is cleaned up and good to go from the storm.
Good luck. Good luck.
And everything.
They go back to catching gators.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do that later in the year. Although when that happens, I think shoes get thrown at them as it did a few years ago. But the bottom line here is, yeah, what he said is legitimate. And I would expect, look, guess what? Alabama's going to say the same thing when you go down there in a month. Oklahoma's going to say the same thing when you travel there in a month. You're going to have Texas A&M, who at least has lost once, to South Carolina, say the same thing. Missouri is going to say the same thing.
Maybe, but who knows what our record will be by then? We win this game, we go on a run. They're not saying the same thing.
We'll see. We'll see. But he.
And who is LSU? Who is Garrett Nussmeier? I keep saying this over and over again. He says that Lenora Sellers is not good. Well, who is Garrett Nussmeier?
Ooh, I like that, Musmeyer.
Musty Meyer. Who is this guy? I don't know. How does he have so much confidence in this clown? He doesn't know. It's not what he said. It's the way he said it. Very dismissive.
No, he says it very
dismissive. I don't like it. Put him on the bulletin board if they have those anymore.
But no, you got video screens all over the place.
Put it on the video screen.
Put it on the video, and you can
put captions.
With captions. I'm with you. And a couple of y'all are weighing in. 803-404-6100. Let's get up and get going. Preston's ready to lead the charge. He's ready to lead the team out. He's ready to lead a lot of you. He's ready to lead a lot of you over to the game day set right now with your posters and with your T-shirts and with your body paint. Get up and get going. Let's get out to the phone lines. Larry, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. I wasn't going to call in this morning. I was just going to lay here and listen. Because yesterday I called in, this thing I know, I spent the day out there at Richmond Memorial Hospital for the whole day. But that guy, I don't know who he is. Mm-hmm. And I heard him say he didn't have much respect for South Carolina. He didn't know about Lamar, the Norris Sellers and all that. But let me tell you, I don't know who you were, but I got something to say to you. I'll guarantee you 100%. I will guarantee you will know who Norris Sellers is. You will know who Rocket Sanders is. You will know who pass rushing ends are, and you will know who South Carolina is, and you will have respect for South Carolina. I guarantee you 100%. We're going to take it to the woodshed. I'm going to change my prediction. Let's see now. Let's say I'm going to cut it down a bit. 27-17 Gamecocks. You got me fired up. I wasn't going to say nothing. I was going to just lay here and listen to you. But who was that talking? Let him know. The Gamecock Larry said, bring him on, because we are waiting on you. Norris Sellers, you guarantee you'll know him by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Go Gamecocks. Love all y'all.
There you go.
Mission accomplished.
We'll continue down this path.
My guy Larry was just going to relax. He was just chilling. Matt Moscoma, you woke up a giant.
803.
Matt Moscoma, it's your fault.
You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. That's right. Jacob Crowder has been the mortgage guru in this market. I know because just a couple years ago, he helped me get an incredible interest rate, get a great APR, and help find a great price on a 30-year fixed mortgage. He could do the same for you. And if you're looking to move to Richland County, you definitely need to be contacting First Palmetto Bank and the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, today. Right now, they have what's called the Community Reinvestment Product in Richland County, Blythewood, Northeast, Southeast, and the I-20 corridor, or where they are offering 4.99% interest with a 5.075 APR on a 30-year fixed mortgage. They believe they're underserving these areas. So the bank is offering 100% purchase loans at 4.99% on a 30-year fixed mortgage. No points, no mortgage insurance, no gimmicks, just lower payments. For more information, call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, today. 803-719-1005. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
Things moving along okay on your Friday morning. Do have one accident to make you aware of, and that's I-20 westbound between Longspond Road and exit 44. So basically between exits 51 and 44, there is a slowdown there. So other than that, at this point, things looking pretty good. Couple showers off and on today. Tomorrow, cloudy and a stray shower possible in the morning, and maybe a few showers in the afternoon is kind of what they're saying at this point. So it doesn't look like a rain out, but maybe have that poncho handy for the game. We'll watch that throughout the day, but right now it's currently 71 on the early game. All right, so I'm going to tell you something right now. I've got a movie clip here that I think is appropriate at this point, and I think all you do is replace the name Snowman with Sellers.
We're gonna hang it up. Whoa, negatory. What are you, crazy or something? We come this far, ain't we? Look, when we say we're gonna do a job, we do a job. It's me they're after. They don't even know clean snow exists. Oh, they don't? Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna introduce them to the boy. So move over a little bit, good buddy, because the snowman is coming through.
How about that? Sellers is coming through. Right?
He better. He's been called out. I like it. Get your clips ready. Get ready to go, Bill. 6:16? Can we play the game now?
6:22.
Can we play it now?
On your Friday morning?
And we can bring in a Smokey and the Bandit clip.
Get them
many times as we can.
Nothing makes Jen happier than finding a way to get Smokey and the Bandit into the show, and if she can do it in the first 22 minutes of the program,
Score!
That sets up Jen for a huge day. Speaking of which, Jen, I apologize if you just gave a traffic report. Preston and I were talking off air. Did you give a traffic report, and did you give a weather report?
I did give a weather report, and what I was seeing, and I think hopefully there's differing opinions, but I was seeing maybe just a couple showers maybe in the morning, but it looked like more in the afternoon was, like maybe things would be shifting. What are you seeing?
82 is the high tomorrow, 24% chance of rain, says cloudy skies, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. It doesn't sound, number one, it doesn't sound like in the morning we're going to be dealing for game day with a lot of rain. Number two, it sounds like maybe during the game you get a little rain that
shower.
comes through, but it's not going to be the washout that maybe everybody expected with the hurricane and everything. So, Preston, we'll get to some we'll play that bulletin board material, and I might even play the role of heel for a little bit and be like, because it's fun to fire you up after last week where a lot of you are like, I don't know. I want to go to the liquor store, the deer stand. I don't want to watch the game. Get fired up. We've said it all week. We've led the charge on this.
Wait, were you making fun of hunters?
I was making fun of people last week on this particular day. We're like, I don't want to watch the game. I already know what's going to happen. I saw them against Old Dominion.
So then you said something about them being in a deer stand?
That was one of the texts we got.
Oh, okay.
That was one of the, we got. What else did we get?
I wouldn't mess with hunters.
Just I'm a baby deer. Isn't there like ways to? Isn't that illegal to shoot a baby deer?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. It's legal to shoot me. But no, last week we did Let's Go, and Preston initially started off as oh no. And then as I tried to argue, no, South Carolina's 1-0. You stay with your team. I understand if you want to get upset at some point, but you stay with your team when they're undefeated, and people need to be all in tomorrow. That's right. I'm stealing a line from some other team that's in the state. 803-404-6100. Real quick, Mike weighs in. Hot take. Sellers hits a deep ball early to set the tone. Harry weighs in. Well, dang. Y'all got me all jacked up.
There we go.
Play that schlep again.
We got you.
Another texter, after yelling at me, another texter says, Gamecock Larry is my hero. Got another texter that weighs in. By the way, and I think you did it unintentionally because I can't read. I just realized I can't read the funny part of this text again, or I probably shouldn't read the funny part of this text. But you called him Musmeyer. I like if we want to come up with names, just make it where I can read it on air, please, because I really wish I could read. I'll just say, texter weighs in, Preston is right. And then comes up with a nickname for, I don't want to say it on there. And then it says, LSU can think what they want. We's coming, baby. Let's go, 24-9, good guys. Another texter says, oh, it's on, like Donkey Kong.
Yep.
803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone lines. Michael wants to weigh in. Michael, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm good, guys. How are you this morning?
Good.
I said I remember calling in last Friday. I'm like, well, since we won, I got to make this an annual tradition. You feel me? But tomorrow I would like to call the game the annual Carolina hype trap game. There comes along a Carolina football game where there is an amount of hype for it, whether it's from the fans, Beamer telling all the fans to pack out, there's media on you or whatever. And Carolina just goes out and just lays a complete egg and absolutely destroys you. I remember there was a question earlier in the week. Y'all was telling everybody give their experience. I'm gonna be quick. 2017 Kentucky game. We started off the year 2-0. This is under what March Champ, of course. We beat NC State in week 1, which everybody was saying NC State was going to be a dark horse playoff team. Then we go and destroy Mizzou on the road. And so we're coming back. If we beat Kentucky at home, we're going to be ranked, and we're going to be in position to actually compete in the SEC. Lay a complete egg at home versus Kentucky. It was a blackout game. Debo took it literally to the touchdown for the first play. Everybody think it was going to roll. Lay a complete egg. Terrible. One of the worst nights ever as a Gamecock fan for me because I was in person in that game. So tomorrow is huge, not only just for the program, but literally for the mental state of Carolina fans, because I feel like if you go out and win this game, then you absolutely know this program is heading in the right direction. And even if you lose a close one, I mean, it is what it is. LSU's a really good team, whatever. But if you go out and just absolutely get embarrassed, then you're right back where you are as far as what your thought was about this team maybe before the season or about Beamer or whatever. So tomorrow's a big game. I'm not going to sit here and make this prediction that LSU is not as good like a Kentucky was, but I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're good. I just don't think they're a playoff team. So there's a chance tomorrow. Hoping everybody enjoys the game tomorrow. I hope we can pull out a win. Go Gamecocks.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Michael, we appreciate your call. I do remember that game from 2017. I didn't see the rest of the game, but I do remember this, Jen.
South Carolina, Kentucky, one of the marquee games of the weekend in the SEC. Two teams came in 2-0. Kentucky hadn't been 3-0 since 2010. South Carolina hadn't since 2012, and the oh-so-dangerous Deebo Samuel. First play from scrimmage, Jake Bentley finds him, and it's just more of the same for Deebo.
He's a game changer. There's no question about it. Every single game we watch these guys play, this guy shows up. Sometimes it's on the jet sweep, sometimes it's in the pass game, sometimes it's in special teams, but he's going to be there.
What a game. What a game. What a game that was. What a play.
The point.
What a moment.
To what they were just saying. Remember, so as Michael also said, South Carolina had opened that season with a Deebo Samuel kickoff return against North Carolina State.
Correct.
They had the following week, Deebo Samuel had a kickoff return against Missouri, and he didn't get a chance to return the kickoff, so he just ran the first play 75 yards on a RPO for a touchdown, and then the lights went out, basically.
We're doing creative editing today. It is Friday. I don't know how I can not get this through your brain. Creative editing for Friday. It was a great play. We got started, and Deebo went on to have a successful NFL career after that because the Gamecocks are great. Go Gamecocks.
Michael brought it up. Michael set me back there. 803-404-6100. He took me down our path from Wednesday. That was because I still was trying to look
Michael was doing his makeup homework from Wednesday. We did that in class on Wednesday.
There you go. Extra credit there. 803-404-6100. We'll look at that Missouri defense that Matt Muscal from the LSU Radio Network thinks is just going to wear out South Carolina, and we'll let Preston weigh in on that. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic. You know, guys, as we get older, man, our bodies change. Trust me, I'm going through that right now. I might have popped a meniscus just the other day and been walking around on crutches here for the last 2 days. But the bottom line is, as you get older, things start to change a little bit. Maybe you're not recovering from workouts fast enough. Maybe you're forgetting simple things in life that you used to have no problem remembering. That's called brain fog. Maybe you're not enjoying your home life quite as much as you used to. Guess what? At the Men's Clinic, it is a safe and comfortable comfortable place to be able to discuss these issues. And at the men's clinic, they understand there's nothing generic about you. So why are you settling for general medical care? Dr. Dan Balknight understands the issues you are facing, and it might be just something as simple as low testosterone. Set up an appointment today, 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS. Don't put off your health thinking that you're going to be fine. Call the men's clinic today, 803-875-MENS. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Traffic-wise, it's looking like we just have slow moving at I-20 eastbound there at Fairfield Road, just maybe a disabled vehicle. But earlier accidents have been cleared, so that is very good news. As far as your forecast goes, yeah, maybe just a stray shower possible tomorrow. Maybe a couple additional chances for showers in the afternoon, but not a washout like we were expecting. So we'll continue to watch that forecast. Today we could see a few showers around and a high of 83. Yeah, tomorrow 89, 82 for the high. On Sunday, a couple showers possible and 81. Right now it's cloudy and 71, which of course is why the heat is on in here on the early game.
Up and at 'em. Let's go. 6:36. And I tell you what, Jen, just in case people are just now tuning in, let's let you hear how we started the show this morning. This is Matt Moscano from Locked On LSU. This is Talking with Jay Phillips yesterday. Here is Matt Moscano talking about how he sees the game. Oh, wait. Jen's on the let's start again. Number 19. Let's that way anybody that missed it can get fired up bright and early.
I'll tell you straight up, I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenora Sellers is not a good football player. Look, On3 had him as a top 10 quarterback in the country last year. I think he has the potential to be really good. He's 240 pounds and he can throw the ball a ton. He's just not a very good quarterback right now. He's a great athlete, just not a good quarterback, and he could become one. Rocket Sanders was a really good running back at Arkansas, had some injury issues, and I think he's proven he can be a good back at times. I don't think South Carolina's offensive line is very good. I don't think their defense in total is very good. Their pass rush is very good. And that's strength on strength because LSU's pass defense is, or pass rush defense, their ability to pass block, I should say, is fantastic. So it's good on good. Do you trust Will Campbell, Emory Jones to hold up against South Carolina's pass rush? I do. And if LSU's offensive line can keep Garrett Nussmeier upright, LSU is going to sling the ball all over the yard. And on the flip side, you better believe Blake Baker is going to dial up some creative pressures to force that South Carolina offense into negative plays. A South Carolina offense that isn't very good to begin with and a young quarterback. This is a matchup that heavily favors LSU. You go out there, you protect Garrett Nussmeier, and you protect the football, you're going to win this football game. I think Shane Beamer knows it as well.
I didn't even catch that last part the first time where he's basically saying the head coach, Shane Beamer, knows this as well.
Saying Shane knows it, you know it, everyone, all 80,000 of you all that are coming out to game day, you all know it. That's what Matt Muscombe said from Locked On the Gators podcast.
All out Locked On the Tigers.
Yeah, whatever.
All I'll say is this, which is mildly funny. Again, as I told you, I've met him, and he is a calm, quiet, laid-back guy. I'm actually shocked that I mean, look, all of us in some way, shape, or form have a little bit of bias towards our team. There's not bias in that. That's your South Carolina. You really don't need to even show up because our tackles are too good. Our quarterback, as Preston called him, Nussmeier.
I got it.
Which
I've been workshopping it.
That was great. So the texter who sent in a really good one. We can't use that one, but I like it.
I've
on air.
workshopped the new one.
So we're working on that. But let's move real quick to the defense here, a position that's near and dear to Preston's heart. I want to hear his take on this. This is actually, I tell you what, Jen, we're going to play 15 here. This is Wilson Alexander from The Advocate in Baton Rouge. He was on the halftime show with Terry and Tyler yesterday. This is him talking about Blake Baker, the new defensive coordinator for LSU, and his defensive identity.
Philosophically, it's the same. You know, this is all about havoc and creating disruption. His goal is to have a 25% havoc rate when you look at, throughout the course of a game. So tackles for loss, sacks, interceptions, pass breakups, and forced fumbles. And they did a really good job of that against USC. Their havoc rate was like 27%. David Jones, a senior defensive end, had 2 sacks. They had 5 tackles for loss. They created some forced fumbles, even though they didn't actually end up having the opportunity. And so that wasn't the case this past week against Nichols. Maybe I think, though, that had a lot to do with Nichols' offensive strategy. It was a lot of running the football, getting the ball out quick, sort of neutralize some of that. But that's still, what they want to do defensively is they want to be able to play a lot of man coverage in the back end, and they want to be able to create disruption up front and really get their linebackers coming downhill. Guys to look out for in that regard are certainly Whit Weeks is a linebacker, a sophomore, who's having a great start to his season. Harold Perkins, who a lot of people know that name, is super athletic but hasn't really quite gotten going yet. And so that's kind of what they want to try to be able to do on the defensive side. And it is certainly the same, as what they did at Missouri. Now, LSU might not have some of the same parts and personnel that Missouri had last season in particular, but philosophically, it's the same kind of approach.
Now, to your point, you've called out Dow Loggins, Preston has, because, again, last year, Dow Loggins' offense with Spencer Rattler really struggled against Blake Baker's defensive philosophy, which is to bring pressure after you, to come out. They're going to come after South Carolina's offensive line tomorrow. I mean, they're going to do stunts. And
also, to be clear, Blake Baker was at Missouri the year before that, so Shane Beamer is also has gotten eaten twice by Blake Baker.
Although now Shane points it as like there was that Satterfield guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But you're right. Blake Baker, this guy's known for bringing heat. He's going to bring pressure. Now, Preston, this also means South Carolina's wide receivers, Jared Brown, Mazeo Bennett, the tight ends, Brady Hunt, who's been surprisingly more quiet to me through the first two games based on some of the transfer portal hype. Michael Smith. You can kind of go through the list here of wide receivers that tomorrow are going to get one-on-one opportunities. And it's going to be on both them and Lenore Sellers to step up and make a few plays that will be there and maybe down the field where Lenore Sellers can drop back and just cut it loose.
Well, there's a couple of things here. We have not seen the wide receivers win one-on-one battles yet. Even in the Kentucky game, they were going against a zone where Kentucky blew a few coverages. They haven't seen them win one-on-one battles. So that is, if I had a concern, they need to be able to do that. But on the positive side, Lenore Sellers has been very good on deep balls this year. He's 92.8 with his PFF grade on passes 10-plus yards down the field. So he's been good on getting the ball out and deep, and I don't think anybody's really concerned about that. The thing that does concern me is that Blake Baker brings a lot of exotic blitzes and things of that nature, which we've seen the offensive line struggle with the communication aspect of that. Casey Henry has struggled with that. Josiah Thompson, being a young fella, will struggle with that. So there will be times where the communication will get thrown up, and they'll have to be able to recover from some of those plays.
One interesting part, too, tomorrow is Harold Perkins, whose role was possibly changing this weekend. Here's what Wilson Alexander had to say about Harold Perkins, the star, linebacker, whatever they're putting him at. Here's what Wilson Alexander had to say.
That first tweak and adjustment might be coming as soon as this weekend. That's going to be one of the big things to watch is what does LSU do with Harold Perkins and with Whit Weeks. They both play weak side linebacker in LSU's base defense, and so they can't be on the field necessarily at the same time on the base look. That might change, though, this weekend. LSU, I think that there's a chance Harold Perkins ends up moving over to the star position, which is what Major Burns, safety, has been playing, and is somewhere more outside, kind of playing in space, and then coming off the edge on some different blitz packages. LSU, I think, then that gives them a chance to kind of have both their most athletic linebackers on the field at the same time because Whit Weeks has been so good. Brian Kelly said this week he can't be in a platoon situation. He needs to be on the field more, which people in Baton Rouge have been clamoring for like a year. And so that might be the way to do that might be to move Harold Perkins over, maybe take Major Burns off the field at that star spot, and then do some different things with Harold Perkins. And what exactly those things end up being is kind of what we'll all have to see. But I do think that there's maybe a change coming in his usage. He's not just going to be a straight edge rusher. He's 220 pounds. It's not the size for LSU's, at least as of now, I'm not going to put him right back at that spot. But putting him in the star might get him a little bit closer to doing some of that, playing a little bit of coverage, which he was really good in last year at times. And so that might be what we start to see this weekend.
What do you take away from that there?
Harold Perkins Jr. is LSU's Nick Harbor. All the fans want this thing to happen a lot. And it seems like the coaching staff has tried several things. The only thing that's different, he did have a breakout year his first year, but they've been clamoring for this to happen, and it hasn't happened. We'll see. It does concern me if you lined him up against maybe the freshman or Casey Henry, which I think are the 2 weak links of our offensive line, but we'll see.
803-404-6100. We'll wrap up hour number one. When we come back, it's the early game. It was this time last week that we discovered some people needed to get involved, needed to a pick-me-up, if you will. It was vibe check time.
Vibe check. Y'all already know where I'm at. I've been workshopping a couple of different things, trying to figure out what's going on. We got Matt Muscombe. Jen, can I just get that one? I don't need the whole clip. I just want to hear the very dismissive part really quickly.
I'll tell you straight up. I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenore.
That's all I need. Just that part right there. Well, you know what, Matt Muscombe? Vibe check for the day. LS, you know I have a few concerns, and you can voice your concerns. So it's LSU. You know I have a few concerns. Maybe the pass blocking won't hold up against Howard Perkins. Maybe they'll be able to sling the ball all around the yard like Matt Muscombe says. So the first option is LSU know I have a few concerns. The second option is my favorite. LS who? So it's either LS, you know I have a few concerns, or LS who? I am in the camp of LS who. Who is, and I got a new name, Bill, Garrett Sussmeyer, because he's suspect. We don't know how good this guy is. Is he any good? 4 starts? That's only one more than Lenoris will have after Saturday's game.
True.
Who's saying this guy is any good? LS, you know I have a few concerns. Or my favorite, LS who?
LS who?
Quarter weighs in, calls him Garrett Bustmeyer.
Ooh, I like it.
I got to tell you off air, I keep forgetting as we go into other subjects, the one that I'm pretty sure I cannot repeat on air.
If you're pretty sure, that means you can't do it.
Let's see, a couple people weighing in on this. Gene says, preach, Preston. LS who? Brent going in. Brent says, I think South Carolina needs 3 to 4 big plays over 25 yards passing to keep LSU honest, win the field position battle with Kyle and have, I think he means with Kai, and have no turnovers. This is a big game as we have had it says as big a game as we've had in a while. It would be as close to the Thursday night game against Ole Miss in 2009 was that particular game. So what have you got? LS, you know I have a few concerns, or LS who? 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone lines. Thomas wants to weigh in on the LSU game. Thomas, what you got this morning? Good morning, Thomas.
Looks like we got disconnected.
Okay.
Not my fault.
All right, that's okay. Give us a call back. We do have Chris Deering coming up at about 6:18 this morning. Again, with now the changes.
7:18.
Well, yeah, 7:18. 6:18 has already passed. 7:18, and I say that because as I was thinking, there has now probably been some changes to the high school scoreboard show tonight. Remember, you can tune in 7 o'clock tonight right here at 107.5 The Game to hear the high school scoreboard show sponsored by Love Chevrolet with Justin Hall and Elijah Campbell, and they'll keep you up to date on all those scores. Sean weighs in. Loser State University.
Ooh, let's go. Let's go.
Remember, we get LSU again next year, so there's no reason we can't turn this into a rivalry a little bit. There's no reason we can't try to elevate this to a bit more of a rivalry as we get ready for this. Let me ask you this question, and I might want to come back to this because I don't know if you've got enough time to preach on this. William, on our live stream, you can always go and check out our live stream. Go to the Game TV radio. He actually asked a very good question. Clayton White, is he coaching this game for a contract extension and a raise? That defense comes out and plays. Now, it's only game 3, but it's a good question to me where, Clayton White's been a little under some heat the last few years, but you go out and you shut down LSU and that defense lights them up, and I don't want to say wins you the game, but essentially puts you in contention to win the game. Clayton White's status goes up a good bit, doesn't it?
Well, as the GM of the early game, I am always a little bit hesitant to hand out contract extensions. I'm usually a little bit slower to pull the trigger on that than most. However, Clayton White's defense have been playing extremely well for the past 5 games. For the past 5 games, if you include last year, they've played really well on the defensive side of the ball. So maybe something has clicked with him, or he's figured something out, or the personnel has matched his schemes. But the trajectory does seem to be going upwards for Clayton White and his defense.
Several of y'all weighing in. I know I'll at least be able to get this one out. LS Pooh.
Ooh, let's go.
Another texter goes with LS Who. Let's bleeping go Gamecocks. That's from Mark weighing in this morning. So, yeah, different vibe. It's a different vibe, and I'm glad to see this. This is why we purged everything on Wednesday. We got out all the bad memories because this is now gets really exciting. Jen, the fact that the weather has looked to evolve a little bit, and we're not heading for something incredibly bad.
Shout out to all the folks down in the Gulf Coast. Hopefully everything works out fine for them.
Yep.
It sets up for an incredible weekend, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it gets going today. Again, I think it was, as somebody pointed out on our live stream again, where you can go and join in the chat with Chuck, the Garnet Yardbird, William, Craig's in there as well. Chuck is talking, but Pat McAfee's show will broadcast from out there today. So if you want to get the start early and get on out there and check out Pat McAfee, stand in the back with your signs. By the way, we got a sign contest I'll tell you about. Hour 2 on the way.
Hey, y'all, it's Preston for your broker, my broker, Benji Getzy at Buford Lending. Buford Lending is a true mortgage broker offering the widest variety of government mortgage programs and the best mortgage experience for clients through its state-of-the-art technology and record low interest rates. Their goal is to make your next mortgage experience and closing easier, cheaper, faster, and friendlier. Since 1997, Benji and his team have served thousands of investors with their dreams of real estate investing. And Buford Lending specializes in DSR loans and fix and flip financing. Benji and his team are VA, FHA, and USDA government loan experts, and they offer competitive jumbo financing as well as conventional and construction lending. So shop your rate with Buford Lending today. We want to be your broker. Call 843-524-2404. That's 843-524-2404.
Sponsor.
Traffic-wise, just have one accident to let you know about, and that's on Charleston Highway heading into Columbia, right in front of the McDonald's there. Again, that's Charleston Highway. An accident in front of the McDonald's right by I-26. So be careful in that area because really only about one lane is not blocked. No other accidents to report. A few showers could pop up today. Maybe a couple passing showers tomorrow. It's looking more like after about 3 o'clock we have some slight chances for showers. 82 for the high. So tomorrow morning looking a little bit better, maybe a little cloudy. 81 for the high on Sunday. A few showers on tap as well. And then really off and on showers are going to be in the forecast for the next week. Right now, 71 on the early game.
Run to your phone and start dialing 803-404-6100. It's time to give away some Gamecocks football tickets.
Touchdown, Carolina.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda motorcycle, ATV, and side-by-side superstore. Online at carolinahonda.com.
Now's your chance to win a pair of tickets to tomorrow's game. And as this texter weighs in, Nussmeier, Bustmeier, Bench Rider, Flat Tire, Pants on Fire, doesn't matter. Cox by 90. You want to be there. You want to be there and harass Garrett Nussmeier and Brian Kelly tomorrow. Call in 803-404-6100 right now and win a pair of tickets to tomorrow's game. We'll take caller number 7. A touchdown. We'll give you that. Caller number 7 wins a pair of tickets, and you can get out there, as our texter just said, and harass Nussmeier, Bustmeier, Bench Rider, Flat Tire, Pants on Fire, doesn't matter, Cox by 90. And then he says, was going to be on my sign for game day, but I changed it, Preston Thorne.
That's good. That's how you got to workshop it, because game day that's game day. So you got to workshop it either through our show it to some people in your office, put it on the social medias, get some feedback for it. You never want to submit your first draft. So that's a good job. You always want to make sure you workshop these things.
Let me also tell you about this. If you want to win, so we're giving away tickets right now, and we got another pair of tickets we'll give away coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, so continue to listen. But if you want to win tickets to the South Carolina Ole Miss game, head over to the ESPN Game Day show tomorrow morning at Gamecock Park and take a sign, a poster, or wear something that says 107.5 The Game. Take a picture and post it to our 107.5 The Game social site. That can be Facebook, that can be X, whatever it may be. The first 5 people who do that will win tickets. So, again, if you want to win tickets to the South Carolina Mississippi game, head over to the ESPN Game Day show tomorrow morning at Gamecock Park. If you make a sign, if you make a poster or wear something, but it has to say 107.5 The Game. Take a picture of yourself and post it to X or post it to Facebook, and the first 5 will win tickets. So, again, we're giving you a chance right now, and we'll give you another chance here coming up in an hour to win a pair of tickets to LSU's game, or to the South Carolina LSU game. But if you want to win tickets to the South Carolina Mississippi game, just head on over to the ESPN Game Day show tomorrow morning at Gamecock Park, and make sure you take a picture of yourself. But you got to have a 107.5 The Game sign, poster, T-shirt, whatever. And I know that Jay Phillips and Elijah Campbell will be out at Columbia Craft later today from 3 to 6 in the Vista. They will have a lot of T-shirts. Preston, you see all those T-shirts sitting right over there? Apparently, they put Jay Phillips in charge of finding the T-shirts yesterday. So you can go by today at Columbia Craft on Green Street in the Vista. You can hang out with Jay Phillips, the very cordial, very nice Jay Phillips, who allowed Matt Moscano to come on his radio show and just absolutely put down the Gamecocks.
No. Let's be clear. We have to speak facts. This was on. Okay, I want to make sure we clarify that. This was not on Jay's radio show. This was on Matt's radio show. Okay.
Oh, how did they find that audio then? All right, Jay, I totally apologize.
I found it.
How did
I found it because I go through enemy lines and try and find motivation for all my folks out there listening to us. So I was the one who combed through
this. Makes some more sense now.
Yes, this was not on Jay's show. Let's be clear.
Okay.
That was not how that happened.
I apologize, Jay Phillips.
comb through because I want to hear what they're saying behind enemy lines. I want to hear what's going on when they're talking in hushed whispers on those Locked On Tigers podcasts. I hear it, and I want to bring it to you so that you don't have to do it. That's my service to the listeners.
That explains why we got the truth and not some guy coming on Columbia Radio.
Right. Chumming it up. Yeah. We want to hear what you really say.
Okay. Now I'm more in tune with what happened there. I was going to say, Matt is, a legitimately good dude. We've had plenty of lunches at SEC Media Days. I've met him a couple times. I was shocked that he would come on a South Carolina radio show and say that, but I do now totally understand where we got that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so. Now, the last 2 times that game day was in town, not 2 of the last 3 times game day was in town. One of them in particular was the 2010 Alabama game, Jen. Alshon Jeffrey was pretty good in that game, was he not? We all agree. Stephen Garcia was phenomenal. Alshon Jeffrey was pretty good. Let's go back. Now let's start to conjure up the good vibes. Start to remember all the good times. Here is a little clip from that 2010 Alabama game.
Quick setup. Down the right side. Caught. Jeffrey. Foot race. Out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Perfect read. He's going up against Trey Kirkpatrick. Good coverage. One hand. As Kirkpatrick had his jersey, Alshon went up and caught it with his other hand. Kirkpatrick did everything he could. Interfered, covered him, and did everything.
Yeah, those days. Alshon Jeffrey, Garcia out there.
What a perfect Alshon clip because he will jump over you with one hand and catch the ball. He will not win a foot race.
He almost did.
Well,
but I think that's also because Alabama was so surprised.
He won't win a foot race.
Pulled away from Drake Kirkpatrick there, who had him in a full-on headlock as well. Let's get one more great memory. And game day was here back in 2012. Ace Sanders was returning a punt, and it turned out to be pretty special.
Another good punter for Georgia stands at his 15. Boots one back to Ace Sanders. Slides over to the near sideline. Ace drops one. Picks it up at the 30. 35. Ace with a move up the middle. Another at the 50. Open space for Ace. He can't get him at the 30. At the 20. Got one man to beat. 10-5. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Ace Sanders. Boom.
Todd, no flags, folks. No flags.
Ace Sanders just went the distance at Williams-Brice. The extra point could make it 21-0 Carolina. Oh, hurt me.
So Wednesday, we did a little purging. Today, we indulge. It's indulging in the great moments where game day, because don't just think that bad things have happened when game day shows up. There's been some really good things. Game day in town. Get the text question on our text line about the Pat McAfee show. Yes, he is expected. Unless something completely changes, Pat McAfee should be doing his show from out at the Gamecock Park later today. I believe that starts at noon, Preston, and you are able to go and see it. You can go and check it out, hang around, put some signs up out there of you hanging around and stand in the background and welcome Pat McAfee, who that'd be a good time out there.
Yeah, obviously the show is always fun. It's always something that's going to have people enjoying it. Maybe something will happen where people talk about it. And, go out there if you can.
So we'll keep you updated on that. I'll give you the full rundown coming up here in just a little while on what is taking place so you can kind of plan accordingly if you want to get the kids out there later today and hang around, providing that rain has not moved in. We'll get you all the information for that. Do want to also tell you about this coming weekend. There is some really fun stuff going around the University of South Carolina. Let's start with our good buddy, Tony Annan. If you're looking to get out, take the kids. 7 o'clock Sunday night, East Tennessee State will be in town. Preston, we've talked a lot with Tony. Tony, I thought, was in the offseason, or when we had him leading up, he had that quiet confidence. He kind of exuded that when he was in the studio. How about this? The South Carolina men's soccer team offense, their national rankings, they are number 2 in scoring. They are number 2 in total goals, and they're number 3 in what's called points per game, which is what you get, 3 for a win, 1 for a tie. So Tony Annan right now has got one of the best offenses in the country. That is off of a 4-0 victory over USC Upstate on Tuesday, 2-1 victory over Belmont last Saturday. They also they were up 3-0, I believe, on Jacksonville just about a week and a half ago down there before that game had to be postponed due to weather. They are putting up goals left and right, and you can go ahead and check them out. It's coming up on Sunday night, 7 o'clock. East Tennessee State will be in town for that. And then next week, they start conference play on Friday at home against Marshall. You're going to need all the Gamecock fans out to start that one. Should be a lot of fun out there for Tony Annan. On the other side of things, something you really love to promote, something that you said a lot of fun, is the volleyball team, and they get going later on today. They've got I believe, a doubleheader today. They will start at 1 o'clock today, so you can go take the kids, go enjoy a little bit of the game day setup, maybe see a little bit of Pat McAfee, and then you can go over to the volleyball facility. South Carolina will take on Stetson later today. 1 o'clock is start time for that, and then that will be followed later on tonight at 7:30 with a game against FIU. So volleyball tonight, where you can get out and go check it out. Volleyball on Sunday as well. Wake Forest will be in town over at the facility for a 2 o'clock match there.
Yeah, I say all the time, man, volleyball is awesome if you have a family that you want to take to an event. It's affordable, one. It's fast. You're not there all day, and it's easy to understand. She jumped high. She hit the ball hard. You're on it.
803-404-6100. We'll try and keep you updated on that. Up next, Chris Deering joins us. We got some games to get into. Looks like the weather is going to hold off coming up tonight. We'll tell you about some of these great games, and we're going to need to get an update from last week.
It was tight.
Okay, we'll find out on that Berkeley-Somerville game. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. Joined next by Chris Deering for the high school highlights of the week. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, where now is the time. The fall is here, and that means doing some nice traveling, whether you're not at Williams-Brice Stadium or whether you're traveling with the family or having to go to those soccer tournaments, basketball tournaments, football games. You want to go check out the incredible line of vehicles at Love Chevrolet, where right now, once again, they are absolutely beating all the deals here in the Midlands. That's why they've been the #1 volume Chevy dealership for a long, long time, and why that does not plan on changing anytime soon. Whether it's the $1,000 low price guarantee, which means you can shop other dealerships, take it back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it, or they'll write you a check for $1,000. Whether it's the 14 acres or brand new Chevys, or it's the phenomenal sales staff. That customer service staff, absolutely second to none, which is why I love doing business with them, because of the way they treat their customers. Love Chevrolet is the #1 volume Chevy dealership right here in the Midlands. Find out why. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
And a peek at the traffic conditions out there this morning. Still working an earlier tie up there on Charleston Highway in front of McDonald's heading inbound towards Columbia. So allow maybe just a little extra traffic activity in that area for a little bit longer. And your forecast, a couple showers possible today, 83 for the high, 82 tomorrow. Just a passing shower, looking more like maybe in the middle of the afternoon as opposed to in the morning. Could be a pop-up shower, but just be prepared. Take the appropriate things, a poncho or something like that. Again, 82 for the high, 81 on Sunday, a couple passing showers, and really could see showers off and on next week. 71 right now on the early game.
$7:17 as we get you ready for the high school highlights of the week. But guess what? We got another gift for you right now. We'll take caller number 4 because that seems like the number that the Gamecock men's soccer team is scoring each and every game. We've got a pair of tickets to give away for Sunday night's game against East Tennessee State. We'll take caller number 4 right now. You can win a pair of tickets to men's soccer versus East Tennessee State Sunday night, 7 o'clock at the Graveyard. Trying to make sure we call it the Graveyard each and every time. If you want to win a pair of tickets to go see Tony Annan's team, who is playing exceptionally well. They have not lost a match. They are 3-0-2. It is the longest run of matches without a loss, without not gaining a point for men's soccer in almost 20 years. 803-404-6100. We will take caller number 3 right now for a chance to win some tickets. Go ahead and give Jen a call for that now. Jen, though, let's get out real quick. We're running. We feel great this morning. We got high school football tonight. We had some high school football last night. Let's get out to Chris Deering for the high school highlights of the week, and it wouldn't be complete without a little visit back in time to last Friday night, Preston Thorne.
Yeah, Chris, I only saw the score, but from my understanding, the game was very close, no?
It was close, yeah. I mean, Berkeley did score on the final play of the game. Somerville won 41-35.
Okay.
The Stags had an 11-point lead in the third quarter, believe it or not, and then Somerville got their offense cranked up behind Keyshawn Washington and Jaden Murray Kelly, and that's a good football team. It's gonna be they got an interesting matchup next week with a good Chapin team from here out of the Midlands going down to Somerville, but. Yeah, Berkeley, they held their own. You know, last year, Somerville pretty much handled Berkeley with ease, and you could tell the talent gap was a little bit closer last Friday night.
Gotcha.
All right, so there you go. A little look back in time there. Unfortunately, Deering, you'll have to wait another year to get one over old Preston Thorne and have bragging rights. But let's look back real quick. Last night we had, because of some potential bad weather here in the Midlands, we had some other games last night. Give us a little bit of a rundown. Chapin, Richland Northeast, and Cardinal Newman all picking up big wins.
Yeah, I'm waiting on the stats from the Richland Northeast game. They beat Nation Ford 58-49 in an absolute shootout. Outscored them 28-7 in the second half to come back and win that game. Will Wilson, the NC State quarterback commit, he had 5 touchdown passes and 3 rushing scores. So he totaled 8 touchdowns last night. I put it on Twitter. I can't wait to see his numbers. They probably give you video game numbers. He's just been lighting it up. R&E's 4-0 for the first time since 2010. They're ranked in the top 10 in the state. So that, Walt Wilson's got it really going on at Richland Northeast this year, and they playing really well. And then another shootout over at Chapin. Sort of rivals between Chapin and Newberry. Brady Albro came off the bench. He's their starting quarterback normally. He got hurt last week, and he was on the bench to start the game this week, but he came off the bench, threw 4 touchdown passes, and Chapin was able to beat Newberry 42-37 in another great game. And then Cardinal Newman, sort of put themselves in the pecking order in the skis and ranks. They beat Ben Lippin 28-0. Caleb Ford, the running back over there, he's now over 1,000 yards on the season. I think he had 3 touchdowns. Some pretty big wins for those schools last night. Lugoff Elgin got a win. Columbia High got a win. Swansea, again, moves to 4-0 with the win over Pillion. So a lot of games last night because of potential weather tonight. But we got a pretty good slate tonight as well.
Let's get into that slate a little bit tonight here, and most of these right here in the Midlands. Let's start with one that I know my daughter will be heading to and pulling for her school right now. She's a freshman at Gilbert. They will host River Bluff tonight in a big one out there at Gilbert America.
Yeah, River Bluff is 3-0. You know, their offense is really hitting at a high level right now. Parker Murray, the quarterback, has played really well in the early going. They have the East Carolina commit and Stephen Collier. Aaron Griffin is actually their leading receiver. So they've played really well early in the season to be 3-0. And then Gilbert, you know, I think they're still trying to find their way under the new coach. They need to give the ball to Trayvon Williamson and Jalen J and let those guys do work. They got a kid on defense that I really like as a safety, Wynn Metz. He's one of the top tacklers in the area coming back from last year. So that's going to be a really competitive game. And, you know, you've been over there, Bill. Gilbert's going to pack it out. It's going to be a full stands on both sides. So that's going to be a really great atmosphere.
Yep, yeah, you're right. And I don't want to say it's a big one for Gilbert, but they would like to have that one at home. Ridgeview at Camden tonight. And I saw where Jordan, Gidron, is now out for the season, had I believe, a ligament injury that he had to have some surgery on.
Not out for the season.
Okay.
He's hoping 3 to 6 weeks. He had a meniscus tear. Actually messaged him a little bit on Twitter this week. He's hopeful to be back before the end of the regular season, but if not, certainly by playoff time. So that is a big loss for the Ridgeview team, and they're scuffling a little bit right now. Lost to Northwestern 2 weeks ago, lost to Dutch Fork last week. Now some of the top 5A teams in the state, so there's no disappointment. I mean, a disappointment, but, you know, no shame there. But maybe the way they have lost. Dutch Fork shut them out last week, 38-0. So, you know, they need to get their offense going. Trey Howard is one of the top sophomore quarterbacks in the state. He's still got a wide receiver, and Christian Jackson. We have him at Prep Red Zone, rated as the number one wide receiver in the state in the 2027 class. So there's still talent over there at Ridgeview, but, you know, Camden's going to line up and play really tough defense. They played great defense all season long. Tyler Drakeford is one of their best players, and JoJo Krim, he's being recruited by most of the Power 4 schools, and that's going to be a tough test for Ridgeview without Gidron on the sideline. But, you know, that's going to be one I'm going to keep my eye on very closely.
Another one here in the Midlands tonight, Lower Richland traveling out to Batesburg.
Yeah, you know, maybe at the beginning of the season, this one did not look like such a big game to watch. But Batesburg-Leesville last week goes on the road and beats the number one ranked team in Class A in Abbeville, who I think everybody thought was just going to roll through the regular season undefeated, and that's a big win for Batesburg. You know, they got a bunch of players on that team that's 3-year starters now. Tanner Watkins, the quarterback, he's played really well. And Amadre Wooden is a running back. I'm actually going to Batesburg tonight. Looking forward to getting over there. I haven't been to Batesburg in a long time, you know, making a little pit stop at Sheely's beforehand. So that's going to be a really good game. LR's coming in with a 2-1 record. Daniel G., Ofer Hill, those guys on defense are really physical. And they got 2 really good running backs in Jalen Simmons and Christian Wilson. So I expect that to be maybe an old school pounded out football game, especially if the weather's a little dicey tonight.
You know, that sounds 2 weeks from now. South Carolina has a bye week on the 28th, maybe on the 27th. Preston and Chris, we're going to have to bring up a little bit of the old school towns with the best, what do you want to call it, local food, like Sheely's out in Batesburg. And I know there's a few other people out there who would have local eateries, if you will, that people need if you go, say, to Batesburg, if you go somewhere like Abbeville, if you go somewhere like that you got to stop and have a meal at before the game.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of places. I know when I go to Gilbert, there's a little place I usually stop at. There's places all over the state that's, you know, maybe not – Sheely's might be the best known out of all of them, but there's little places all along these backcountry roads that you can get some really good food as you venture into those areas. And I might actually make a list. We may effort that for 2 weeks. I can make a list of maybe top 5, top 10 places to eat in these small towns across South Carolina.
Well, we may definitely have to do that. All right, let's go to a few more here that you've got on the list for big games tonight. Most of these, again, here in the Midlands. Greenwood making the short trip down to Lexington for what should be a really good one. That was a big game back when I was in high school 24 years ago. It should be a good one tonight.
Yeah, that was actually the game I thought I made out my schedule early in the season. That was the one I sort of circled. I was going to this week, but with Batesburg's win and Little Richland playing well, I changed it up a little bit. Lexington is off to a 3-0 start. They haven't been, pretty, but they've been winning. The defense was outstanding. It's lights out. The offense has been finding enough things to get it done. They had to come back last week from being down to Midland Valley to win that game. So that's going to be an interesting game. Greenwood's coming in. They lost last week. I think they thought they would be coming in undefeated as well at this point. They have a really good quarterback in Christian Lewis. So that's going to be an entertaining game. And, Lexington always packs it out as well. Another really good atmosphere.
Staying in town should be a really good one tonight over at Dutch Fork. Gray Collegiate taking on taking on Dutch Fork.
Yeah, Dutch Fork, we've talked about them so far this season, and they just haven't missed a beat. Just going off of, I haven't seen them yet, but just going off of some of the stats I get emailed weekly, this defense might be better than they were last year when they, rallied from the early season troubles to win the state championship. But there's no early season troubles this year. They're healthy. That defense is playing at a very high level. They've only allowed 7 points on the season. Josh Smith is I think he's a Coastal Carolina commit. He plays sort of a defensive end linebacker position for them. He's been really good. And then, we talked about him a couple weeks ago, Preston Ethan Offering, the quarterback. He's been steady and doing what needs to get done on the offensive side of the ball. And then, Great Collegiate's coming in. They're 1-1. They played one out-of-state team. They went up to Baylor School where our good friend Eric Kimry is coaching and got blown out by Baylor School. But Great Collegiate's good. They still could be a factor in 4A. B.J. Montgomery, the running back. They got a slew of guys. And, one guy we hadn't really mentioned this year that I think is leading the area pretty much in tackles is Michael Bolware. He's really good. He's a junior. He's probably going to be one of the top defensive prospects in the state next year. So it's going to be a tough battle for Gray to go over in the Dutch Fork and win that one. But I like the way this Dutch Fork team's playing early in the season.
About a minute left with you, Chris. Let's transfer over to Williams-Brice Stadium. It's not a high school game. Your thoughts on LSU and South Carolina tomorrow and the importance of this game for Shane Beamer and really in-state recruiting as well?
Well, I'm driving in from Batesburg tonight, and I'm probably just going to set up at my tailgate spot. So anybody want to come by and speak, I'll probably be sitting there. Looks like that we're right next to the game day stage. But this is a big one for Shane Beamer. He's had some big ones in his time here already, and it seems like every time there's been a big one that maybe can get South Carolina to that next level, they haven't won them. I'm not saying this a win here would get them to the next level, but you win here, you win next week against Akron, you 4-0 going into your bye week. It sets up pretty well for a season that maybe not a lot of people expected. I think you polled the fan base. I think they thought 6 or 7 wins was going to be a really great season, and you get to 4-0. I think the expectations change a little bit, but this could be a big one. I think, this could be a great atmosphere tomorrow, game day being there. People's could be out early. People's could be ready. That's going to be a great environment.
Chris, we
just can't wait to be in it.
We're out of time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, where that fall sale continues to roll along. And with big football games, whether it's high school or college, whether it's Major League Baseball playoffs that are coming up, whether it's just you wanting to spend time with a family, you do not want to be cleaning your house. You'd rather be spending time with those loved ones, and that means it's time to call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning today. Take advantage of their fall sale where you can mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129, plus you'll get a free hallway. You heard that right. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway for just $129. Call Zerorez today, 803-262-4020, or book online. ZerorezColumbia.com is the way to do that. Again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway for just $129. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, it's the right way to clean.
Highway 321 near Dixiana Road at the Farmers Market. There is a report of an accident there. Also, we are seeing Blythewood Road near I-77 and getting things cleaned up on Charleston Highway as well. Right there in front of the McDonald's as you're heading into Columbia. There is an accident there. And again, getting things cleaned up here and should be moving better shortly. 83 for the high today. Might see a pop-up shower or two. could see a passing shower tomorrow, looking more likely maybe in the afternoon, but still only about, 30 or 40% chance. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for the game tomorrow. 71 right now on 107.5 The Game.
(803-404-6100). If you want to weigh in on anything we have discussed so far today, thank you as always to Chris Deering for joining us and talking about the high school highlights of the week where Preston Thorne got to brag just a little bit. You kept it very classy.
Very classy. Listen, man, we go to places we expect to win. We win games. We move forward. Chapin, you're up next.
putting them on notice. Not like Matt Moscano of Locked On LSU, who was this classy at all. Let's let you listen. Jen, if you don't mind, let's run back 19 from just a little while ago. This is Matt Moscano with the LSU Locked On Network sharing his thoughts on South Carolina.
I'll tell you straight up, I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenora Sellers is not a good football player. Look, On3 had him as a top 10 quarterback in the country last year. I think he has the potential to be really good. He's 240 pounds and he can throw the ball a ton. He's just not a very good quarterback right now. He's a great athlete, just not a good quarterback, and he could become one. Rocket Sanders was a really good running back at Arkansas, had some injury issues, and I think he's proven he can be a good back at times. I don't think South Carolina's offensive line is very good. I don't think their defense in total is very good. Their pass rush is very good. And that's strength on strength because LSU's pass defense is, or pass rush defense, their ability to pass block, I should say, is fantastic. So it's good on good. Do you trust Will Campbell, Emory Jones to hold up against South Carolina's pass rush? I do. And if LSU's offensive line can keep Garrett Nussmeier upright, LSU is going to sling the ball all over the yard. And on the flip side, you better believe Blake Baker is going to dial up some creative pressures to force that South Carolina offense into negative plays, a South Carolina offense that isn't very good to begin with, and a young quarterback. This is a matchup that heavily favors LSU. You go out there, you protect Garrett Nussmeier, and you protect the football, you're going to win this football game. I think Shane Beamer knows it as well.
Was that very classy at all?
He stated his opinion behind the closed doors of a LSU podcast, which I had to scour behind the YouTube lines and look and see what they said, but I got it. We heard what you said, Matt.
He does say something interesting that we have not talked about this week, and that is the passing game, these wide receivers for LSU against the secondary for South Carolina, which against Old Dominion, they got shown up a little bit. There was obviously a busted play. Not only that, there appeared to be a second busted play, which I think might be on the secondary for not having a guy in the middle of the field.
No, that wasn't on them.
You don't put it on them?
They were in man-to-man coverage, and they had their backs to the quarterback, so that wasn't on them. I mean, it's on the defense as a whole, but not on them specifically.
Do you take a chance to play more man-to-man, as you kind of just said?
Well, I mean, it all dictates on what Clayton wants to do. What we've seen thus far this year, Clayton White has had the lowest blitz rate percentage of defensive coordinators in the Southeastern Conference, which means, to get football handsy here, they've been getting a lot of pressure with just the front four up front. If the front four cannot get pressure by themselves, then they're going to be forced to bring extra blitzers, which will in turn make the back half be in man-to-man coverage. So I think you start off the game trying to see if Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, those guys up front can get some pressure by themselves. But if you have to add pressure, that's going to put those guys in man-to-man coverage.
That's one. I mean, we learn about this secondary tomorrow. This very well will be probably the second best passing attack that South Carolina faces. I'd actually if I had to rank them, it would be Mississippi, it would be LSU, and this is just passing attack, not total offense, and then Missouri. Those would be the top three right now in terms of who can go out and do what. The difference here is, at least to this point, LSU's not shown the ability to run the football on you. So you're right about maybe having the front four try and handle everything at least early on.
Yeah, 64 yards against Nicholls State last weekend. 64 yards against Nicholls State. Let me keep repeating that. They have not shown an ability to run the ball against the team in their first week when they played USC or when they played a severely inferior opponent the next week. So we'll see what that means. But if they're not able to run the ball, then that opens up a lot of options for you as the defensive coordinator.
A couple things here. This isn't a rivalry, let's be honest. However, maybe we're on the path to a little bit of an LSU rivalry. One thing that got announced yesterday, Preston Thorne, is the schedule for South Carolina baseball, the conference schedule, if you will. Now, I don't know if you looked at this. Are you aware of who the South Carolina baseball team's final series is against? The final regular season series next year going into the SEC tournament and then the NCAA tournament.
I'm just using my context clues, but is it against the Tigers?
Which we know where the current Gamecock head baseball coach comes from, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That series will be here in Columbia, May 15th through the 17th. So we got a chance to not only take their former coach, we could beat them on the football field tomorrow, where I'm sure he'll be taking it in, and then potentially take them down in baseball season.
And you know what? You're right. It's not a rivalry because every time we face them on the women's basketball court, it's mash time. They haven't seen us yet. So you're right. It is not a rivalry.
And you did a perfect segue, whether intentional or unintentional, into who the guest picker will be. That we have now learned Dawn Staley will be the guest picker tomorrow. And it appears, at least through X, Trick Williams will be in the house in some form or fashion tomorrow, as he put yesterday that he still plans to be here.
Man, I think we're rolling out the red carpets. We got Trick Williams. We got Darius is going to be on stage performing. Dawn is going to be there picking. Obviously, if there was going to be a picker, I think maybe we were going up front of our skis a little bit picking Trick Williams. That would have been cool, but maybe this is not the time for cool. Maybe we need to bring in the closer, and that's obviously Dawn Staley.
She will be the one.
We don't need novel right now. Let's go with what we got.
She can kind of go out there and give this football team advice on how to take down LSU teams. Maybe a Friday afternoon speech from Dawn. And again, from what I've read, she will be on twice tomorrow on game day. There will be a 10:40 episode or segment with her prior to going into the stadium. And then from the way I've read this, game day will move into the stadium at 11 o'clock, where she will reappear at 11:40 to make her picks for the weekend.
And again, we get spoiled because we see Dawn walking champ down Gervais Street, or we see her at the farmer's market, but she is a huge star. No other school in the country has this caliber of star on a global scale that they can just call in for a favor. So, yes, you have to take advantage of having Dawn Staley on the payroll.
And she will offset, because I would just assume, I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, it's happened once or twice, but I will assume her pick will offset that of Lee Corso. Robin from Lexington weighs in and says, I love game day will be here as long as we don't get that Corso curse. Hate when Corso picks us because we always seem to lose. What's your thoughts?
Well, we did a deep dive on what the Gamecocks have done on game day, and the state newspaper wrote it up. What they didn't see was whether or not, I didn't get the breakdown analytics on whether or not Corso picked us in these games. So I don't know if the Corso course is actually a thing. We're 3-4 when game day's been here, so we're 500. I don't know the actual picks on what Corso did during those games.
I'm pretty certain in 2001 he picked Florida. I'm pretty certain in 2010 he picked Bama. Not certain on Georgia, and I'm pretty certain he picked South Carolina over Missouri in 2014, the last time he was here. So we will talk about that as well. We'll get back into your vibe check. A lot of y'all, your LSU, Lenore Sellers University.
Ooh.
Yeah. Keep that going there, and we'll get into some more of your vibe check. Let you listen to a little bit more of that Matt Moscato, just in case you weren't already fired up enough this morning. 803-404-6100 is the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family, they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history that is your assurance that they will get the job done in a timely fashion, offering both proper advice and service to the needs of your facility. Give them a phone call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing is ready to take your phone call. That's right. Give them a phone call today and let them help you with a maintenance contract. 803-356-1919, or you can visit them for more information online. MidStateRoofing.com is the way to do that. From high-rises to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you call Mid-State Roofing, you'll speak with a Mid-State Roofing employee or an on-call technician. Give Mid-State Roofing a call today, 803-356-1919. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm, where they understand the tax troubles that you might be facing. Let's be honest, if you've received one of those notices from the IRS, one of those mean, nasty levies or notices, you don't want that stress yourself. You need to contact the people that know exactly how to handle it, and that occurs with the Ecton Law Firm, where they know what they are dealing with. They've helped thousands of families just like yours in times of need, and it's those times that you need to rely on the professionals, whether you're here in whether you're here in Columbia, in Florence, or in Myrtle Beach. The Ecton Law Firm is there to help you, and it all starts with a free consultation. 803-771-9800. They have a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. So give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-771-9800. Don't let tax troubles weigh you down. Let it be a thing of the past. Call the Ecton Law Firm today, 803-771-9800. $750 as we wrap up hour number two. Again, big thank you to Chris Deering for joining us. Couple things here that I think are interesting. And we'll get back into the vibe check in just a second. Also, let you hear again from Chris Moscato, just in case you weren't already fired up enough this morning. But I want to get to this texter here and tie it in with something you wanted to talk about. How much information can a coach actually get from another, speaking of the relationship between Lincoln Riley and Shane Beamer, and if they've shared anything at all, because obviously Lincoln Riley, an offensive guy. So texter weighs in and says, have heard talk all week about our D-line versus their offensive line. What is y'all's honest opinion of our offense, the Gamecock offense, going against the LSU front seven?
That's a great question. Our offense is still in prove-it stage to me, to be honest. Like I said, I think Kentucky was pretty sloppy last week, and when you go back and watch the game, we weren't great on offense. They had some bust. I don't think we put together enough substantial drives to say that we would turn the corner on that. But again, LSU's defense, they're fine. Some of their better players, their best defensive lineman is out for the game. Still don't know what they're doing with Howard Perkins Jr. So to me, the offense is still in prove-it mode.
No, I'm with you on that. And the biggest question will be is how LSU blitzes South Carolina and whether the offensive line can pick up the blitz and handle that, or whether Lenore Sellers is running for his life all day. I do think it's interesting in terms of if Shane reached out to Lincoln Riley.
Oh, he did.
If there's something there.
There's no if.
Really?
Oh, for
so?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coaches share information, especially if you have a partner that's in the industry and you're playing against somebody who you want to help, who you're closer to. Yes, we all have respect for each other, but if I'm actually friends with somebody, I'm going to send all the information I have. Now, we're not talking about like Connor Scallions, because we're not cheating, contrary to what the folks on some Kentucky message boards might think, or what the folks at Tennessee still think. It's not cheating, but if the coaches can give you a shortcut towards the information that instead of me spending 2 hours watching film, Lincoln can tell Shane, hey, watch out for ABC when you're watching film. It just gives you a little bit more information. So, yes, there is no if. Shane and Lincoln have talked.
Then what you pick up from what he's able to use and how Dow Loggins, and I'll even throw in what Sean Elliott adds in terms of just small wrinkles to the run game tomorrow, because I'm with a lot of people on this. I'm interested to see. To me, that actually is the bigger part of the game. If South Carolina can't move the ball, I don't really care how good the defense is. Now you're asking it to be a water boy type scenario where the defense has to score touchdowns, and you got to score touchdowns out of special teams. South Carolina has to move the ball tomorrow. Now, one interesting part of this is LSU's going to blitz a lot. They're also going to probably play a lot of man. You talked about it a little bit earlier about the breakdown that occurred when South Carolina sent a blitz against Old Dominion. Defensive backs were in man, didn't see Garrett. I think it was Garrett Wilson, I believe. I could be wrong, or I can't remember the quarterback's name for Old Dominion, but didn't see him take off. This does open the door tomorrow if Lenore Sellers wants to run, to be able to take off and maybe pick up some big chunk plays.
Yeah, that does make a big difference when you have a quarterback who's a dual threat guy, because the defensive backs are turning their backs in phase running with the wide receivers. So it gives you more of an opportunity for them to run. That's why you like to play more zone against dual threat guys, so that you can keep eyes on them. But if they're sending a lot of exotic blitzes, they will be in man coverage. That may open up some scenes for Lenore's to take off.
And then somebody's got to step up. Last week, it appeared Mazio Bennett was becoming that guy in the pass game. Jared Brown was a lot better last week in the passing game. Those two guys, somebody's got to win one-on-one battles, because if they're blitzing, Sellers going to have to get rid of the ball, but Jared Brown or Mazio Bennett are going to have to get open early, and maybe there's another wide receiver. Vandravius Jacobs been waiting for a true breakout game for him. Maybe he's that guy that can get open tomorrow and create some plays in the pass game.
That's when we get real football. You talk 50-50 balls and all that type of stuff. That clip that we played from Alshon, he was not open.
No.
He got up and made a play, right? And so somebody's going to have to get themselves open, and if they don't, you're going to have to be able to throw the ball up to them, and they go up and make a play.
So we'll obviously get more into that coming up in the next hour, and we'll let you get revved up to start the 8 o'clock hour. We'll play a little Matt Macuso.
There you go. You're forgetting his name and everything.
Yeah.
But just a minute ago, you were good buddies with him and had lunch with him. Now you don't even remember his name. Now you're going on the right path. Who?
Hey.
LS who?
That's the vibe check portion of this. We'll do some vibe checking when we get back. We'll let you hear some trash talk from LSU. We'll get all of that going as we roll along. And we'll give you a chance to win a pair of tickets when we come back as well. You're listening to The Early Game.
You know, they say perfection is a journey, and our journey in updating a bathroom led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. With that bathroom renovation, we had to replace a cabinet, which of course meant kind of needed a countertop. We were referred to Carolina Stone Craftsman, and I'm telling you, we were so impressed, felt right at home. We toured their amazing showroom, learned more about their marble, the granite, and quartz, how everything is sculpted with the highest craftsmanship. They have family values. Everything was delivered professionally, and there was so much to choose from. They were very helpful in helping us make selections as to what would work best with the cabinet. Every step of the process was great, from visiting the showroom, selecting the granite, the home visit, to get everything measured, and the installation as well. If you're in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, I really encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They do invite you to take them for granted. Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia in Chapin and beyond your expectations, carolinastonecraftsman.com. Blythewood Road near I-77, an accident there. Also, Highway 262 at Veterans Road. I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, you do have an accident reported there. 321 near Dixiana Road, right there at Farmers Market Drive, a report of a tie-up. So be careful there as well. And that forecast looking like a few showers today, just scattered, high of about 83. Passing showers tomorrow, more likely in the afternoon, and 82 for the high. Few showers for Sunday and high of 81. Right now, it is cloudy and 71 on 107.5 The Game.
I'll tell you straight up. I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenora Sellers is not a good football player. Look, On3 had him as a top 10 quarterback in the country last year. I think he has the potential to be really good. He's 240 pounds and he can throw the ball a ton. He's just not a very good quarterback right now. He's a great athlete, just not a good quarterback, and he could become one. Rocket Sanders was a really good running back at Arkansas, had some injury issues, and I think he's proven he can be a good back at times. I don't think South Carolina's offensive line is very good. I don't think their defense in total is very good. Their pass rush is very good. And that's strength on strength because LSU's pass defense is, or pass rush defense, their ability to pass block, I should say, is fantastic. So it's good on good. Do you trust Will Campbell, Emory Jones to hold up against South Carolina's pass rush? I do. And if LSU's offensive line can keep Garrett Nussmeier upright, LSU is going to sling the ball all over the yard. And on the flip side, you better believe Blake Baker is going to dial up some creative pressures to force that South Carolina offense into negative plays. A South Carolina offense that isn't very good to begin with and a young quarterback. This is a matchup that heavily favors LSU. You go out there, you protect Garrett Nussmeier, and you protect the football, you're going to win this football game. I think Shane Beamer knows it as well.
That is the voice of Locked On LSU.
Did y'all hear that?
That is the voice of Locked On LSU Inside. That is not Preston Thorne, not Bill Gunner. Nobody related to the university or covering the University of South Carolina. That is someone covering LSU. Locked On LSU Insider Matt Moscano sharing his thoughts on the game and basically saying that this is a scrimmage game for them tomorrow.
He said he doesn't care about South Carolina. He says Lenoris is terrible. Shane Beamer knows it. Why even show up? That's what he said. He said, hey, fans, game day, why even go? No purpose, no reason. Because apparently Garrett Nussmeier, apparently they think Joe Burrow is back there playing quarterback. Maybe they think that Odell Beckham is playing wide receiver for him. Maybe they think that they're going to be handing the ball off to Leonard Fournette. Well, guess what? They're not. And my question has been all week, who are these dudes? LS who? Who are they? We don't know.
So that brings us to your vibe check where Preston Thorne is fired up. He is taking this personally. He expects you to take it personally. He expects you to get very fired up. As Rodney says, he said pass rush defense. Let that sink in for a second.
Exactly.
803-404-6100.
Put it on your bulletin board.
Look, there's no reason not to take it personally. There's no reason not to believe that South Carolina will go out there. They're an underdog, but this is a winnable game for South Carolina. As Preston said, I don't know, and neither of us, and I don't think many know what exactly LSU is. There was the very good game against Southern Cal out in Las Vegas. They lost. Very good game. Of the two teams, that's probably the better opponent. I'm going to always take Southern Cal over Kentucky. But the Gamecocks, far more dominant in their victory over Kentucky than LSU was in their loss to Southern Cal. There's an element to this that what Moscano said is correct. If they can't stop, if LSU cannot play, follow me on this, pass rush defense, it opens the door to South Carolina dominating this game. So he is right in that aspect that it falls a little bit on their offensive line. Now, I think South Carolina's offensive line has to be able to protect Lenora Sellers and open the door for them to make big plays. But he's got a point. He's basing this entirely on the fact that he thinks Garrett Nussmeier is a phenomenal quarterback. Should be noted, to be factually correct, Nussmeier leads the NCAA in touchdown passes this year. I believe he also leads them in completion percentage. But it also kind of leads you to believe that LSU might be one-dimensional.
They are one-dimensional. They ran for 64 yards against Nickel State last week. Izzo might be in this. To this point in the season, still early, they are one-dimensional.
So that's now, by the way, for those of you that looked this morning, Jordan McLeod of Texas State, who played last night, is the nation's leader in passing yardage. So don't go looking there because this is counting. That's counting another game for Jordan McLeod. Jackson Dart, who the Gamecocks will see in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, is second on that list. And I cannot believe that this young man is still playing football, but I just discovered Chandler Morris is third in the Yeah, I just discovered that little fact to be as well. But that's probably matchup 1A, Preston Thorne, 1A when it comes to this matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because the strength of our team has been our pass rush, notably our defensive ends, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, even the interior guys have played very well. And to be fair and objective, LSU has a extremely talented offensive line. They have 2 first-round picks, one guy who will probably end up being top 10, 15-ish. They're very talented. However, we're not sure how good they play as a unit.
Very true. And so we'll see how everything kind of plays. That's a great point. Let me go back to that. That's a great point on that, because Will Campbell at left tackle, as I pointed out to Jay Phillips and then yesterday, I believe is the number 3 player on the EA Sports college football video game.
He's legit.
The other tackle, both Emory Jones and Will Campbell, are projected as top 15 picks on the Mel Kiper big board.
They will be rich men very soon.
But at least so far, for whatever reason, that whole offensive unit has yet to click and come together in the manner that most thought they would.
And to be very clear, Old Dominion was not very good at the tackle spots, and Kentucky was atrocious at the tackle spots. So to be honest, this is the best, most talented lineup that they will face. But that's good, because that's a challenge for what seems to be our best unit so far.
Whoever's offense clicks the best. Are you with me on this? Whoever's offense clicks the best is the team to win. Both teams are going. It's going to be low scoring. By the way, that was I've got to go back and check this. Nussmeier has 8 touchdown passes on the season, 1 interception. Has completed 75% of his passes on the year. He's a solid quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback? That is to be determined. Is he the best quarterback South Carolina's faced through the 3 games? Yes.
Yes.
But is he an elite quarterback? Or, I mean, look, I know Southern Cal shut out Utah State last week, 48-0. Is Southern Cal's defense markedly better than they were last year when neither LSU or Southern Cal could stop anybody, and LSU wasted a Heisman Trophy campaign from their quarterback?
Yeah.
You know, is Garrett Nussmeier an elite quarterback? Is he top of the SEC? Tomorrow's a step for him, a proving moment for him through his career. Now, he has played. He has started 4 games. As Preston said, that's 1 more than Lenoris he started 3 games, 1 more than Lenoris has started in his career. He has played some significant snaps, though, and in his career, he has 19 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So and those aren't all just in mop-up time. He has gotten some legitimate run last year when Jaden Daniels went down a little bit with injuries in games. He's played some significant snaps.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's a solid quarterback, and that's fine. But I don't know if he's a game-changing quarterback or a quarterback who can change the temperature of how a game happens, or can he step back and make an important throw when they need to make it. I'm not sure if we've seen that happen.
What is game-changing for them that South Carolina will have to deal with tomorrow is that wide receiving group. Kyron Lacey, 12 catches on the year, 159 yards, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Anderson, 10 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. They got Mason Taylor, who's their top tight end, 11 catches, 102 yards. That's where it comes down to, is South Carolina's secondary being able to shut down these guys. O'Donnell Fortune, you want to make a name for yourself like we've seen some defensive players do in the past where they step up with a big game? You shut down, if that is indeed the matchup, Kyron Lacey, you shut him down. Look, there will be some NFL scouts here tomorrow. There's a chance for guys like Kyle Kennard and O'Donnell Fortune and Adebo Williams, who people have heard of, but might be their first time really seeing them. There's a chance for those guys to see their value go up dramatically with big performances.
Well, this is how NFL scouting works. They're going to be in town to see the top 15 dudes. They want to see them in person. But if you make a play against the top 15 guy, or while they're watching them, if they see you all of a sudden lock down a wide receiver over here, they might make note of it. So that's why this is a big game for everybody that's involved.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. If you want to do so, some of y'all weighing in on that. A texter doesn't agree with you. A texter says, when you say that the LSU clip is not classy, I was bracing myself. Is that the best you could find?
Well, I do have some stuff that we can find. There's some things that I could find, but, we're all confined to morning radio. We're all confined to morning drive time radio.
There's some worse stuff out there?
Yeah, of course.
Just got to get in there and dig a little bit, huh?
Of course.
There you go. 803-404-6100. I tell you what, Jen, if you don't mind, if you're ready, we've got a sounder for a chance to win a pair of tickets. Let's fire that off now.
Run to your phone and start dialing 803-404-6100. It's time to give away some Gamecocks football tickets.
Touchdown, Carolina.
Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your local Honda motorcycle, ATV, and side-by-side superstore. Online at carolinahonda.com.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. What number, Preston? What number do you think we should take here?
We're going to go with 5.
Caller number.
No. Sorry. 6.
Oh, 6.
6 for Dylan Stewart.
6 for Dylan Stewart. We'll take caller number 6 right now. You will win a pair of tickets to the South Carolina LSU football game tomorrow at noon. Go ahead. Give us a call now. We'll take caller number 6. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the early game.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They will come out to your location, replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with your insurance company to take away the headache. Yes, they will come out to wherever you are. You're at school, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out, take care of it for you. Now, if you're at home and looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows and mirrors, and Absolute Glass will do that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online, AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Blythewood Road near I-77, still an issue there. Also 262 at Veterans Road. I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, we have a report of an accident there. Old Cherokee at Old Chapin in Lexington, again, an accident at that intersection. And Highway 321 at Farmers Market Drive, we do have a slowdown. Few showers today, a couple passing showers tomorrow. Doesn't look like a rain out in the morning. Maybe a sprinkle, but maybe not. And in the afternoon, looks like if there is any rain, shouldn't be substantial, and it would be mid to late afternoon. 82 for the high, 81 on Sunday with some rain. 71 right now.
Don't forget, the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest is back. If South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown tomorrow, someone, if you've registered, will win $300. If they don't, there's another $100 that goes in the pot and is added to next week's game. You can register today at 1075thegame.com. You don't have to just be here in Columbia, wherever you're listening this morning. You can register. All you got to do, go to 1075thegame.com. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. If South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown, someone will pocket the current pot, which is $300. So you've got an opportunity. You've got an opportunity to do that. And Preston, I'll ask you in just a second: is scoring a special teams a must, or scoring a special teams touchdown tomorrow a must or important to have? And then also we'll let you know, Lakeisha Reed won the tickets, and apparently very excited. Jen is making people's mornings in there, just giving tickets away, playing great audio, doing a big job in there this morning, too.
Absolutely. We're putting a lot on Jen today, but it's a big day. It's a big Friday. And it's bulletin board material day, so we've been throwing things at her, and she's been wonderful.
So what do you got for us, Preston?
She's been handling blitz. Well, I got challenged. by a texter in the previous segment, and so I had to do my due diligence. We already got Matt Moscamo, him talking his garbage, spewing that garbage out of his mouth. But now we have another one. This is sourced from Robbie Did That at Twitter, and he found somebody else who has not so much kind things to say. So if you have your bulletin board up, place it up, get the cork, put it on there, and listen to this. Jen, can we get that clip?
That South Carolina team offensively is not good. I would go so far as to say Lenora Sellers today is a bad SEC quarterback. That South Carolina team offensively,
I like it. Again, they seem to have a lot of confidence. Which is not earned.
It's been 30 years since we've beat them. Which, by the way, again, still blows my mind that 30 years ago was 1994. But it is one thing that's interesting, in all seriousness, that's interesting on both of those clips.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them tell you, both that guy and Matt Moscano tell you Lenora Sellers is not a good quarterback right now, indicating, we think he could be good, indicating they're not fully sold on their hot takes. Because if Lenora Sellers comes out... How are you
going to give a hot take and be like, well, there's a little bit of nuance. Get out of here, man. If you're going to say it with your whole chest.
But both indicated, well, he could be really good. And that meant, he could be really good on Saturday.
Exactly. We don't know where he is on his development journey. And I wouldn't even say... you know what I would say? I'd say Brock Vandergriff is a bad SEC quarterback. He's not good. We've seen that.
He was very ugly, and I get the impression that going against the Georgia defense is not going to help that.
And the trajectory is not up for him. All signs point forward and up for Lenora Sellers. It's just going to be a matter of him getting more game experience and him figuring out a way. And this is where I come back to Dow Loggins. Dow Loggins, this is for you. This is personal. Blake Baker ate your lunch last week. You have to figure out ways to get your 6'3", 240-pound quarterback, keep telling us that, figure out ways to get him settled and figure out ways to make easy throws that he can be successful early.
This is a good text from Dylan in Greenwood. He says, to quote the great Tin Cup, when a defining moment comes along, you either define the moment or the moment defines you.
Ooh, I like that.
This game is a defining moment for the Shane Beamer era. There is an element of how does South Carolina handle the first 10 minutes of this game. Did not handle it well against Clemson last year, very early.
Yeah.
Both Dow Loggins and Clayton White have to find a way to keep their respective units mentally focused on the task at hand and not getting caught up in everything. Look, those guys, Preston, I don't think you ever walked through anything like this. If I understand how everything is going to work, the time schedule for everything, part of this is those guys, South Carolina's players at 10 a.m. are going to do the Gamecock walk, which is going to go right by the game day set. It is going to be easy to get caught up in the moment walking by that and the excitement and everything that's taking place. It's going to be easy for South Carolina to get caught up in the moment when they come out to 2001 and the crowd goes crazy and the fire is shooting and everything. You have got to stay even keel early on in this game. And then I guess you've been there and you can think back to whether it was Florida in 2001 or another game where you came out and just the energy level was different in a particular game, and you had to go out there and play maybe 10, 15, 20 snaps and get banged around and go, oh, okay, it's just football. It's what we've done our entire life. It's not, don't get caught up in the moment. And I think that's a huge thing for South Carolina.
So I keep going back to my Pete Carroll thing. You can't win the game in the first quarter. Can't win it the second quarter, third. You have to play all four quarters and expect that going into this game. And so I would say enjoy the moment. Yes, enjoy Gamecock Walk, because that's at 10 o'clock. That's still not 12 o'clock. Enjoy 2001. That's all good. All of that stuff builds up. But know that you're going to be in a long, or plan on being in a long 4-quarter ball game.
That's a big part to tomorrow, how they handle the setting and the scene. For LSU, they're used to this. They played in one of these against Southern Cal a few weeks ago. LSU's used to the big game environment, much as when South Carolina was winning, when under Steve Spurrier, South Carolina became accustomed to the big game environment. Those guys back in 2010, and you can even go back to 2009 if you want, but in 2010 through 2012, 2011 through 2013, so forth and so much in there, they were accustomed. You ran out, you went, yeah, we're the better team. And we've played those audio clips this morning, and that is what LSU is going to show up tomorrow thinking, oh, we're just the absolute better team. We're LSU. They're not. And you already hear it. The LSU media members are saying the same thing. Now, whether they're being factual about the South Carolina offense and the pass rush going against their offensive line and so forth and so on, well, we'll know the answer to that at come 4 o'clock on Saturday. Maybe they'll be right. Maybe they'll be wrong. And if they're wrong, oh boy, we may be just prank calling them all Monday morning and making them re-listen to what they got to say, what they had to say. But it is a game where, Preston, you can speak to it, as you just said, about the Pete Carroll clip from his days at Seattle. South Carolina has to weather the storm, and I don't just mean from LSU, but weather the storm they're going to deal with emotionally for the first 10 to 12 minutes.
And exactly that. Weather the storm. Go through and make sure that you understand that this is not a game that's going to be won because we score on the first drive. And it's not a game that's going to be won because we get a pick after we scored on the first drive, as we found out in 2017. That does not win you the game. It's going to take you 4 quarters of execution and fundamental football for the whole duration of the game. So I would say, yeah, weathering the thing that comes from LSU, cool, but also weathering your own emotions. Yeah. No need to get up so high that you get so excited about beating this team because, again, who are they? We don't know who this team is.
I think it's always important to have a quarterback that's pretty even keel. That does seem to be what Lenora Sellers is. And I think back, Spencer Rattler was relatively even keel. He was relatively even keel. Jake Bentley was not.
Right.
Jake Bentley was not. And I do wonder at times in games like that where we reference the 2017 Kentucky game, scoring on the first play, he didn't get a little overexcited, overhyped, and maybe lose his mind a little bit. I do think that's a good thing with Lenora Sellers. Good or bad tomorrow because of what he's done early in the season. I don't think the first few series, if he takes a few sacks, has some throws that are high, that is something, by the way, that has to change a little bit tomorrow. He does have to hit on those medium, mid-range throws and not overthrow them. He did that against He did that against Kentucky a little bit too. Jared Brown bailed him out, and then another throw was actually intercepted and set up the Wildcats for a second field goal right there before the half. But the bottom line is you do have a quarterback who, at least so far, Preston, through 2 starts, seems to kind of be even keel in terms of you don't see him like running down the field, swinging his arm wildly, or looking too depressed when things are going wrong.
Yeah, and that's important for him to play to his style and not try and get outside of himself and do whatever. To the same point, you wouldn't want Jake Bentley to be somebody else. You have to be who you are on the football field 100%. It's important that he stays even-keeled, important that he plays his game. If he makes a good play, get on to make the next one. If you make a bad play, you get on to make the next one at the same time.
One thing that's been discussed ad nauseum, whether correct or not, I'm interested in your Preston's take. The goggles that Lenora Sellers wear, do they block his peripheral vision? This is Shane Beamer last night talking about the Sellers goggles.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question and being observant, and you probably, or maybe you didn't. I know there was a picture on social media that was floating around this week with his goggles. We've had his vision checked. We've had his vision checked with the goggles and tested it to make sure he can see out of both sides and all that as well, and everything checked out. And you know, we say he didn't see it, but he also had a guy in his face coming from the right side on the long pass he threw to Mazio Bennett down the Kentucky sideline, where that guy came free from the right, and he stepped up and avoided him. So it's something that we certainly are cognizant of and want to keep an eye on, but we've had it checked, and you know, we'll keep an eye on it, but feel good about things.
As I've said before, I assure you, there's no better solution, because anybody would want to get out of the goggles. That is the best solution that we have. You know, like, nobody would be fighting like, I have to play. I want to keep these goggles on. I think this is the best we can do right now.
803-40.
You don't want contacts in this dude's eyes. Like,
yeah,
I've never. I mean, I'm not being funny. I've never had them. I don't know. I know people. Some people struggle to put them in. Some people do not like.
You think he like goes in the mirror and puts, like, that's his game thing? You know, some people put their helmets on and lock
There you
in.
go.
You think when he puts his goggles on, it's like, I'm ready.
He's locked in.
I'm locked in.
And it is a pain. Like, it's not the safest to wear contact lenses. Soft lenses are at least better. But I mean, something could happen. You get hit. It throws it off. So it
falls out.
It falls out. Yeah, things like that can happen. I used to have more like hard lenses and gas permeables and whatever. Yeah, not so hard to get in and out once you learn how. But again, it's just more awkward. And the goggles are his best option. So.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll look around the country for just a second. We'll also talk about last night. I'll get Preston's take as a former football player. Tua concussed again. We'll hit on that, and then don't worry. If you think we're done making fun of LSU, our final segment will be entirely devoted to making fun of Brian Kelly.
Can't wait.
And your final vibe check. We'll wrap up our program as we roll along. About 30 minutes left. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Let me ask you this. Start thinking about this for just a second. Is your HVAC system living on borrowed time? Now that you start thinking about it, are you thinking, you know what? I might have the oldest HVAC system in the Midlands. If so, AAA Heating and Air has a great contest for you. Go visit their website, myoldair.com, and enter to win a new HVAC system. It's pretty simple, actually. If you think you have the oldest HVAC system in the Midlands, in the service area for AAA Heating and Air, go to myoldair.com and enter to win a new HVAC system today. It's pretty simple. Again, go to myoldair.com. AAA Heating and Air will draw one lucky winner for every 100 entries. You heard that right. 100 entries when they come in, they will draw one lucky winner to win a new HVAC system. Don't wait. Register today. Also, give AAA Heating and Air a call, 803-677-1500.
I-26 eastbound Piney Grove Road, 2 left lanes are currently blocked, so clearly stay right and allow extra time to get through there at I-26 eastbound at Piney Grove. 262 at Veterans Road in the cleanup stages, also Highway 302 at Highway 6. I-20 westbound also getting cleaned up there at Alpine Road. I-77 northbound at Garner's Ferry, there's one accident. It's actually 2 accidents. I-77 northbound, one before Garner's Ferry and one after. So big slowdown there. In Lexington, we also have a report of a tie-up Old Cherokee at Old Chapin. 83 for the high today, a couple showers. Might see a couple passing showers more towards the afternoon tomorrow. 82. No umbrellas at Williams-Brice.
We owe them one, and that's just something that's been sitting on everybody, mind since we came back from break. We owe them, and we walked away from that game, as we kind of left it all on the field. I don't feel like we left it all on the field because we should have murdered them guys, and they came out with that attitude as they were on top of the world, and this ain't no Cinderella story, so we coming for revenge.
That is the voice of Colorado State wide receiver Troy Horton on last year's Colorado State-Colorado game. Boy, what a big game for Colorado State tomorrow. You think South Carolina's in a position to really up the program. Colorado State now gets to be a part of, essentially, I think, we'll get more into this next week, big boy football. They're going to be part of the Pac. They're going to be a part of a big conference. I don't know what we're going to call that conference just yet, but they're going to be part of what was the Pac-12, now the Pac-2, could be the Pac-8. I don't know what we're calling that conference out west. But Colorado State gets to be in that conference, and tomorrow they get to play their rival Colorado and Deion Sanders. And that game this year is out in Fort Collins, and that is just tomorrow's not a great day of football, but that one tomorrow night, 7:30 on CBS.
That was the game last year. Everybody was tuned in. It was late, overtime. Everybody's saying
Friday night game, too, I think.
It was the game where everybody was watching that particular game last year. And I will state it again. Huge game for Deion Sanders and company, because if they lose this one, things are not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost to a state rival, somebody who obviously they don't like. And I like the dynamics of this rivalry because you can obviously see that Colorado State fashions themselves as the blue-collar, hard-working type of school, the state school, Boulder. They're a little bit more affluent. They have Deion primetime. I like the way this rivalry plays out. I'm interested to see how it goes.
That's a rivalry game tomorrow. You also have Oregon and Oregon State. That game will be in Corvallis. Glad to see they're going to continue playing this despite the splits in conference. When you see schools like Oklahoma State and Oklahoma be like, no, we're not playing you. We're angry.
Right.
And Oklahoma State at least got to stay in a mega conference. It's not like they were nearly shoved down to the Mountain West.
All you have to do is schedule the game. They can figure it out. Good to see. This the Apple Cup?
This is the technically they don't like calling it anymore, but the Civil War.
Okay.
Apple Cup will be later tomorrow when it's Washington and Washington State. Another one much like that. I'm glad they continue to play.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm in for it. As long as the game has some stakes, especially with somebody that you don't want to lose to, I'm good for it.
Also tomorrow, 3:30, following South Carolina. Feels like this is a massive one. Florida hosting Texas A&M. If South Carolina doesn't play Florida, so I kind of feel like you're pulling for the Gators because Texas A&M losing to Notre Dame, who now we don't think is any good, losing to Florida, who we don't think is any good, could send their season spiraling.
Yeah, and obviously we still know that they're trying to figure out the refuge from the Jimbo Fisher era. I think Mike Elko will get it together, but losing early could make some of those players bail out.
Early game that you kind of want to keep an eye on. Actually, 2 of these for entirely different reasons that you might want to just keep eyes on when you're not watching LSU and South Carolina. Alabama goes up to Wisconsin. Camp Randall Stadium, noon game. Luke Fickell, now the coach at Wisconsin. We thought so highly of him at Cincinnati. Can the Badgers pull off the upset?
No, But I've for some reason I've kind of stopped paying attention to Wisconsin. I don't know what's going on with that, but
because they're playing Wisconsin football, 28-14 over Western Michigan, 27-13 over South Dakota. It's just we're going to run it. We're going to score high 20s, maybe mid 20s. And we're going to hold you to about 10-15.
Well, listen, you're talking my language. That's what I like. That's my type of ball. But for some reason, I just stopped paying attention to them. But no, I don't think they will be able to pull off the upset.
One other one just to keep an eye on tomorrow. Maybe not watch the game, but just keep the scoreboard up. Memphis. We talked about this with Brian Edwards yesterday. Brian Edwards likes Memphis +7. Memphis goes to Tallahassee in a noon game on ESPN. Florida State's favored by 6.5 right now, according to ESPN Bet. The Seminoles, this is about as close as it gets in Game 3 to a must-win.
It's a huge game, and for our edition of Transfer Portal Friday, Mario Anderson is really playing well with the Memphis Tigers. I believe their starting run back got hurt, and now Mario Anderson has taken over that position and played very well last week. I was trying to look up the stats. I had him up yesterday, but he's really, really playing well for them.
So just keep that. That's another noon game that. Just again, I'm not suggesting to watch it, but that's a really good one. Tonight, you actually have two pretty interesting games. UNLV, a lot of talk about them potentially getting an invite to the I don't know, again, Pac-12, well, just Pac-2. That does say, what I've read is they'd have to either find a way to completely split from Nevada, or Nevada gets dragged along with UNLV to an upper-tier conference. But UNLV's been playing better. They went on the road and smashed Houston. Houston then went on the road and only lost by 4 to Oklahoma. UNLV goes to Kansas, 7 o'clock ESPN game tonight. It's a sneaky good game that you're just kind of messing around. You have it on television tonight. You're not watching every play. All of a sudden you look up and it's 35-32, and it's just an back-and-forth shootout.
It might be something worth checking out. Barry Odom, Lance Leopold, I believe, is out there at Kansas. We'll check.
That's what I'm saying. Put it on. Keep an eye on, because all of a sudden you look up, that one's back and forth, and you got a really good one. The big game tonight, Friday night, Arizona, ranked 20th at number 14, Kansas State.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Arizona's on the come up, and Kansas State just wins ball games. Every year they'll win 8-10, and nobody will pay them any attention, but they'll just keep winning.
So those two tonight, those are the two college games. UNLV at Kansas, Arizona ranked 20th at Kansas State are the two games there. Last night, NFL, Dolphins get whipped 31-10. That is the 14th time now in 16 games Buffalo has knocked off the Dolphins. Storyline out of that is, though, Tua goes down with his 4th concussion. Everybody was very emotional. 3rd NFL concussion, 4th, I believe, in his career.
Reported.
Good point. Excellent point on that. Reported concussion. Everybody I was driving in this morning, and I was listening to Amy Lawrence, and they had somebody calling it. They don't know if this is the end of his career. Like, this is an issue right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was an issue, I guess it was 2022 when he had the very serious concussions, and they talked about, he did all the things. He tried to put on weight. He was learning how to fall, not taking hits. Really, when you don't know what anybody's body can take, but when you saw the hit that caused this last night, it wasn't especially vicious or crazy or anything like that. So this is a reason for concern. And I do believe Tua and his family, his doctors, everybody involved is going to have to really sit back and make a very serious decision about his future.
I understand he just recently got married. I think he has at least 1, if not 2 kids, is what I understand. And they're young. And it's just kind of one of those things of like, you worry about a man's future, not in football, but his future in life.
And that's all well and good. But if you're the GM of the Dolphins, you're like, boy, we just signed him to a lot of money.
Yeah, well.
I mean, yes, we're worried about his future. Yes, I hope he's okay, but $93 million?
I don't know how that correlates with the Deshaun Watson contract, which currently the Browns are searching for anything to get out of, I believe.
Well, they might have found it.
They might have.
He might have provided it for them.
Shame for Tua last night. We'll see what happens to him. Skylar Thompson will step in. Mike McDaniel expected to update Tua's condition later today when he meets with reporters. 803-404-6100. Boy, if you think we made fun of Kentucky last week and we hyped that game, wait till the next segment when we hype this game and we make fun of Brian Kelly. We're not above doing that here on this program. Up next, a little Brian Kelly entertainment. You're listening to The Early Game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing. Owner, founder Larry Leitner and the team, they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry for over 30 years. You heard that right, for over 30 years. That is a proven history right there of being able to provide proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility and doing it in a manner that is both safe and pleasing to your operation. Let's be honest, if you're in the roofing industry, your goal is to take care of your customers and keep your operation dry and running long into the future. And at Mid-State Roofing, that's exactly what they do. And they do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can give them a phone call. Doesn't matter when, noon. You can call them at midnight. You can call them at 3 a.m. If you've got a leak, Mid-State Roofing is ready to take a peek. So give them that phone call today, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919, whether you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, or somewhere else in this great state. Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you. Call them today, 803-356-1919.
Welcome back into the early game. Preston Thorne, I solely take responsible for this segment. This is the segment where we make fun of Brian Kelly. Hopefully future coaches will provide us information so on Fridays we can do this normally, but I don't think anybody would give us as many opportunities as Brian Kelly has. So unfortunately this is a radio show, so we can't see everybody doing the Brian Kelly eye dance where you're going around in the 360 circle. We can't do that one, even though Tyler's out there doing a little dance that Brian Kelly was doing on that 360 camera.
Don't worry, if you ever go to our live stream, you just saw Preston doing it as well. You just go to the Game TV radio.
I don't know what the little jig was that he was doing then.
Not good.
But we do have some clips from Brian Kelly. And
hey, today we got the
first we want to get started. First we want to have let's go back a little bit, back in time to after Brian Kelly was hired as the LSU coach. And when apparently Brian Kelly from the Midwest guy, apparently he just got wrapped up in the emotions of being in LSU, and he just wanted to endure himself to his LSU family.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana.
The decision that came about after spending time with my family.
I'm here with my family. And
time with my family.
My family.
Spending time with my family.
My family. It's a great night to be a Tiger.
But we get it. We get it. We understand.
You said Midwest. I just want to correct you just so. Everett, Massachusetts is where Brian.
He's from Massachusetts. Boston.
I'm sorry, he's from Mass.
Everett, Massachusetts.
My fault. My bad. He spent his career in the Midwest.
Correct.
Apparently, a lot of vacationing in Louisiana also.
Yeah, but listen, it happens. Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment, and I get it. I understand it. But he also gets caught up in the moment at press conferences, and so Brian Kelly, being the ultimate meme machine that he is, he provided college football and the internet with another great moment. And here's where Brian Kelly trying to make up his mind on whether he wanted to bang on this table or not.
And we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that one, because I've seen the clip, playing the audio doesn't do it justice, the way that Dasani water bottle jumps around. And that's the quality part of that, where Brian Kelly feels like he hits the desk and instantly knows.
I've made a meme of myself.
I've already messed up one. I've messed up twice. This is strike 3 for me. Good coach, but yeah, he's gotten. I feel like the beatings he's gotten in the SEC, originally from Alabama, even when Manti Te'o basically said that his teammates took one look at Alabama and was like, oh, no.
Forgot about that.
They're bigger and stronger and faster than we are.
Yeah.
And now coming to the SEC, where Kelly, again, is learning it's a little bit different kind of league down here.
Yeah, he's figuring things out. And again, I've said this on this show many times. I think Brian Kelly is an excellent coach. He's won everywhere that he coached. He will continue to win at LSU. But something just doesn't feel right. And as I was scouring through LSU's sort of conversations, we talked about how big a game this is for Shane Beamer. But I think it's actually a bigger game for Brian Kelly.
Yes. And there's no question. That's you don't have to guess on that, because if LSU lose, you've heard the way 2 of their media people speak about South Carolina. And this was a program, this is a team in LSU that went into the season with expectations to win enough to go be in the college football playoff. They thought that going out to Vegas and playing Southern Cal would be a walk in the park, that they would have no problem with that game. They lose this one. Brian Kelly, I don't know if it's fair to say hot seat. I don't think that that's correct. But I will say that there turns up a different level of intensity. LSU didn't get rid of Ed Orgeron to be 8-4, 9-3. Every coach, we mentioned this, every coach that's coached at LSU this century has won a national championship. Brian Kelly, you're on the clock right now.
And to be clear, Brian Kelly, aside from Nick Saban, is the most competent coach. He's definitely a better coach than Les Miles, obviously a better coach than Ed Orgeron. But it does not feel that it's going to happen. And then last year you waste a Heisman Trophy winner because you can't get yourself together on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know, man. This is a huge game for LSU.
Yeah, and again, when we say huge, we don't mean that if they lose, Brian Kelly instantly goes on the hot seat. Look, he won 10. He's been 10-4 his first year, 10-3 his second year. But at LSU, they don't want to play in the Citrus or the ReliaQuist Bowl. They expect to be in the college football playoff, to be in the hunt for that 4-team college football playoff. I mean, even a conference record like 12-4, very solid, not good enough at LSU. And if you lose to, and we've played the audio this morning, and Jen, if you'll prep it, we'll play it one more time. I think we got just enough time. We've played the audio. This is what LSU fans or LSU media members think of South Carolina.
I'll tell you straight up, I don't think much of South Carolina.
That is what they think of. Yes. And if Brian Kelly loses this game, one more time, just that beginning, one more time. Nope. That's all right. You've done a heck of a job. We've thrown so much at Jen this morning.
I'll tell you straight up, I don't think much of South Carolina. I think Lenore.
There you go. Yeah, he loses this game. He's got to go answer to people like that. You think he banged on the table against Southern Cal? Wait till he loses number 2 to USC in 3 games. 2 losses to USC in 3 games. This one to the real USC, Preston Thorne.
Let's go have a good weekend in this, y'all. Have fun. Thank y'all.
See y'all Monday.